Well, hey there, guys. Greetings and salutations, and welcome to Cinemacon here in Las Vegas. We are in my hotel room, and joining me also from his hotel room is Robert Meyer Burnett.
Well, this isn't my hotel room.
Yeah, but you're joining me from your hotel room.
Yes, I came over from my hotel room.
Hey there, guys. Oops, I gotta mute this thing. Sorry, I just wanted to make sure the audio is still working. And yes,
We just had an exciting time.
tell the people where we just were. Well, I go and grab my thing that I forgot.
Everyone, as you might know, we were at the much anticipated Disney presentation here at Cinemacon, and we had many questions going in. Were they going to deal with their Fox merger? Were they going to deal with their slate of Fox films? What was going on with Endgame? Would they talk about Star Wars? We had no idea they might be showing us clips of.
Anything?
Tune in and find out. Stay with us. We got a lot to cover, a lot to unpack, John.
This was the best presentation we've been to so far.
Yes.
It was the best presentation we've been so far. So it all kicks off with Alan Horn coming on. Of course, Alan Horn is the High Lord of all things movies at Disney. Everybody else reports to him.
He came over from Warner Brothers.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, like back in...
Yeah.
Well, didn't he get enticed out of retirement?
Yes.
Bob Iger coaxed him out of retirement to come and run all the Disney film divisions. Anyway, so he comes out, talks about the record-setting year, the great year they had in 2018, yada, yada, yada. But in his opening address, he said a couple of very interesting things.
Very interesting things.
One of the main ones to me right off the bat was, he talked about Deadpool, and he said... Oh, we're going to be getting more Deadpool over the coming years. And in case you're wondering, because some people have been wondering, hey, it's possible they're not getting Ryan Reynolds back. But in the midst of saying, oh, there's going to be more Deadpool, he then brings up that tweet from Ryan Reynolds of him in his Deadpool mask with the Mickey Mouse ears on the school bus.
It's the first day of Pool.
It's the first day of Pool. And which clearly, I mean, to me, that clearly indicates they're making more Deadpool with Ryan Reynolds.
Right. And what was really interesting was they opened up by showing a montage of films.
So good.
It was, first of all, it was an incredibly well cut together montage, but the montage included all of the Fox, the glorious history of Fox films, intercut with the glorious history of Disney movies, really coming up with the idea, or telling us, at least for me, that they're going to keep the 20th Century Fox brand alive. They're going to keep making movies under 20th Century Fox, and that was bared out over the course of the presentation.
And what was the other brand? The other Fox brand?
Fox Searchlight.
Fox Searchlight.
2000 is done.
Not yet. They got to put out 2 more films, and then they're done.
But Fox Searchlight, they brought them up in a big way. They showed a montage of Fox Searchlight movies, and they introduced the Fox Searchlight executives, including Nancy Utley, who I know, and they made it a big point to say these Fox and Fox Searchlight are going full speed ahead.
Yep, they're moving ahead. And interesting note, too, this is like Fox Searchlight, 4 of the last 10 Best Picture winners, not Fox, not Disney, not Warner, but Fox Searchlight. And they did a montage. But that montage at the beginning saying 2 Hollywood legends and
right.
blah, blah, coming together, and they show all these things together. It was just really weird because walking into the auditorium, every studio decorates the front of the Coliseum in Caesar's Palace with their own branding before their presentation. And Rob pointed out this big X-Men Dark Phoenix banner, and it was just really surreal seeing an X-Men banner hanging at a Disney event.
Right next to a gigantic Disney sign. It was just to the left of the Disney sign. Very interesting. But this was different than other presentations. They didn't bring out any celebrities.
None.
It was all the heads. It was Alan Horn and then the heads of their motion picture divisions.
It was very quick. It was the shortest one yet.
Shortest presentation.
Despite the fact that they probably showed us more than any of the other. And we'll get into what they showed us. But I want to stick on Deadpool for a second because not only, there were 2 very, very interesting things about Deadpool mentioned. Number 1, Alan Horn confirming more Deadpool is coming. We're making more Deadpool films. And insinuating that Ryan Reynolds is going to be it by putting up his tweet.
It was pretty definitive in my mind.
Yeah, I think so too. But the other very interesting thing was this. He also started talking about Fox and the 20th Century Fox slate. And he says, he's talking about a bunch of things. And Alan Horn, so they bring up these giant Fox logo, 20th Century Fox logo on the giant screen behind him. And he's talking about, so, as well as the innovative, creative, original films from Searchlight, 20th Century Fox will also be carrying on next chapters with some iconic stories, including Aliens, which I didn't think they were going to do Aliens again for a while. But Alan Horn's coming out. We're also developing new chapters for Aliens, one or two other things. I can't remember what they were.
Avatar, obviously.
Avatar, obviously. And there was one other besides the one I'm thinking
of. I don't.
But anyway.
There was so much going on.
And one of those was Deadpool. Alan Horn just basically confirmed for us Deadpool is going to be done under Fox and is going to be done under 20th Century Fox. So I guess that means they are keeping him separate from the Marvel brand. The chairman of Fox, 20th Century Fox, came out, and she also
Emma Watts.
She confirmed that this X-Men Dark Phoenix is
the last
one.
It's the last one. It closes out their chapter. Now, what was interesting was when they were doing the presentation, they had all of Disney's slate on a chart, and then they added
all the Fox.
They added all the Fox movies to the slot, to the release slot, and guess what was on that? New Mutants. That was very interesting. There was nothing mentioned about New Mutants at all.
Actually, it's important to point out when they brought up this giant graphic, which had all the Disney and Fox films coming out. It's funny because there was like 20 films up there, and instantly Rob and I turned to each other. New Mutants?
Yeah.
Right? But then the 20th Century Fox chairwoman, she starts listing off all the movies from Fox coming out this year, except one. She did not mention New Mutants. So it was on the graphic, but then she mentioned every other films except for New Mutants. I was like, oh, so what did you take away from that?
It was interesting, and I just read that it's on the Dolby Vision release slate as well. Lauren Schuler Donner had said back in February to Deadline that they still hoped that New Mutants would get an August release, which I guess is still a possibility. Right. I mean, maybe they're not going to do reshoots. I don't know. But what was really interesting was before they talked about the Fox slate, they presented one Disney movie first. What was the first thing they presented before they talked about Fox?
What was the first
It was a movie that's coming out on the 26th of April.
Oh, bum, 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 bum. Was it Aladdin? Was that the first one?
Oh, maybe it was. No, I was thinking Endgame.
Oh, well, yeah, well, let's talk Endgame. Okay, well, look, we need to talk about Lion King. We need to talk about Aladdin. We need to talk about Ford versus Ferrari. We need to talk about 17 minutes of Toy Story 4 showed us. We've got a lot of stuff to cover here. So just to sum up where we're at right now. Alan Horn, yay, Fox and us together. Fox Searchlight staying together. 20th Century Fox staying together. Deadpool is happening, and Deadpool will happen under Fox.
And apparently more Alien movies, too.
And apparently more Alien movies, although they didn't make a big deal about it. But he said continuing chapters in these franchises, and they brought up the Alien graphic. Okay, so then they get into the footage. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, D-Generation X Note. Anyway, they decide to show us a full scene of Avengers Endgame, parts of which have been in trailers,
right?
But now we saw the full context
with a lot of information that is very interesting.
That will create theories, destroy theories, make you question your sanity, all that kind of stuff. So basically, the scene that they showed us was the full section of that one shot in the trailer when Thor and Captain Marvel are standing face to face and Thor summons Stormbreaker and blah, blah. They showed us the full context of that scene.
So to recap, in this scene, you had Banner.
Yep.
You had
War Machine.
Steve Rogers. You had Rhodey, War Machine. You had Natasha. You had Black Widow. You had Rocket Raccoon. You had Captain Marvel. You had Nebula.
Who was the last to appear in the scene.
Who was the last to appear in the scene, and who was not in the scene?
There was a guy named Tony not in the scene.
Not in the scene. And this was, they talk about a lot of things. Rhodey says to Captain Marvel, where have you been? Where were you? And Captain Marvel says, listen, there are a lot of other planets in the galaxy that need help, and they don't have you guys.
Yeah, which is a great line.
It was a great line. They don't have you.
Yeah.
Meaning she's been busy.
Yeah.
And then they bring up a big graphic, like in Return of the Jedi when you see the Death Star and the Endor moon.
A holographic map.
It's a holographic map, and they show Rocket is talking about how when the snap happened, it was more energy that's ever been expended in the galaxy. No one had ever seen anything like that before. And they've detected that same energy signature on another planet.
What did Nebula call it? The garden?
The garden.
Yeah.
Thanos has gone to the garden, and she then explains. Captain Marvel suggests she can help find where they're going, where Thanos might. We can find them, but Nebula says, "I know where he went."
Yep.
And Nebula says he's gone to the garden. He said after he talked many times after he completed the snap, he was going to go to the garden, and then Rocket shows where the planet actually is because that energy signature was detected there. And then they decide, okay, well, we're going to go.
Well, then there's also an important interaction going on about, like, Captain Marvel clearly has never encountered Thanos. Because, like, the scene starts with her, like, marching off, and they're like, where are you going? She goes, I'm going to go kill Thanos.
Oh, that was another thing she said.
Yeah, and they're like,
she said she was just going to go kill her.
Cool your jets.
Right.
Cool your jets. Anyway, so it goes into all that kind of stuff. Meanwhile, Thor is just brooding like the god of thunder he is, and very stoic.
By the way, it's a great scene.
It's a wonderful scene.
It's a great scene.
So, but it confirms exactly what you and I have been thinking the whole time. This confrontation with Thanos, or at least the team is going to confront Thanos very early in the
right.
Because this whole scene has got to be in the first 15 minutes of the movie. And then it ends with them getting in the Benatar and flying off to go find Thanos and go fight Thanos.
And Stark is not with them.
This is the big thing, because a lot of people have just been assuming Stark and Nebula together, and if she gets home, he gets home. Now, so there's two theories here. There's two theories, with Stark not being in there and Stark not getting on the ship and flying with them to the garden to go and confront Thanos. Option number one. We thought Tony was with Nebula the whole time while stranded. Maybe he's not. Maybe he's off on his own. Maybe, maybe not. Option number two, Tony and Nebula get back to Earth, and Tony's he sees Pepper. Pepper tells him she's pregnant, and he's like, guys, I'm out. I got to go take care of this.
Yeah.
So that's another option as well. But it was very, Nebula's there and Tony's not. What's going on?
Right. And on the ship, which was interesting, clearly Rocket's flying the ship when he says, have any of you ever been to space before?
Well, they've never seen that.
Oh, yeah. They haven't? We haven't seen that before?
No, we haven't seen that before. So when they get in the Benatar to fly off, so it's got Cap, Widow,
Banner. By the way,
Rhodey.
Banner is there as well.
Banner is in there.
Banner is in the whole conversation.
Yeah, he's sitting up front with Rocket. And Rocket turns to all the people and goes, so which of you has never been in space before? And like almost everybody except Thor raises their hands, right? He goes, well, don't puke in my ship. So anyway, so we see all that, but no Tony. Now this brings up something else very interesting. Are there going to be two fights with Thanos? Because it looks like in the one trailer that Tony's a part of a fight with Thanos, and they're clearly on their way to go fight Thanos right now. Does Tony catch up to them?
Well,
is there two separate fights?
Have you seen the TV spot that dropped today?
I did not see the TV
spot. Okay, that's the line where they talk about where Thanos says this is going to be fun.
Oh my.
Yeah, so it was, first of all, the scene is just what you want out of an Avengers movie. All the interplay was great between everybody. It was wonderful.
And Cap swears.
Oh, yes, he does.
The big scene in the room ends with Cap. They're all looking at Cap, and Cap goes, well, then let's go get this son of a bitch.
Yeah, the excitement is, my hype level is, I'm surprised my heart is still not, it hasn't given out.
Yeah, I thought for sure they would bring some of the cast out, but
yeah,
they didn't for any of the movies.
No, for none of the movies.
But look, there's going to be a lot to unpack about this Avengers Endgame stuff.
Well, they did say the Russo brothers, who are getting an award, are in India promoting the film right now.
Yes, but they'll be back tomorrow.
But they're coming back tomorrow for the awards ceremony.
Here at Cinemacon. So the Russos will be here, which is great and exciting and all that kind of stuff. So that's the Endgame stuff. I'm sure a lot of you guys are going to want to talk more about that. We'll get to the live questions in a bit here. Then they went on and they talked about another little film coming out here pretty soon called Aladdin. And they came out and they talked about it. And I'll tell you what, it's the best stuff they've ever shown from Aladdin.
They showed a long clip, not just when he gets the lamp, but after they showed a lot of the musical number from Never Had a Friend Like Me. I loved it.
Here's the best thing about it. It was true to the spirit of the Robin Williams incarnation of the song, but they didn't just try to copy the Robin Williams.
No.
It was definitely Will Smith's version of the song, and I got to tell you what, it was pretty damn entertaining. It was pretty entertaining.
It's very surreal. Yeah. The direction was really interesting. By the way, Will Smith, he looks great as the genie. He gets big, he gets small, he does all kinds of things. Nothing they've shown. I'm really surprised that they didn't. I mean, I guess it wasn't ready. This was so much better than any of the previous trailers or anything that we've seen.
We saw a bunch of Iago in about a lot of the carpet, a lot of magic
carpet stuff.
And then they showed a lot more, and the scenes just felt more filled out because even in the earlier trailers they'd show wide city shots or parades in the street. This time, it felt like it was a lot more filled out. Yeah. It just felt grander. And it wasn't just the fact that it was on a big screen. It felt grander. It felt more epic. There was a little bit of Bollywood dance number stuff going on,
absolutely,
which I thought looked really fun.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, my attitude is changing about this movie as a result of what we saw. It was actually pretty good.
I wasn't feeling it at all until we saw what we saw. And Will Smith looks to be pretty damn good as the genie.
Yeah, and they talked about how they got the songwriters from Hamilton and from Greatest Showman to come in and write a couple of new
songs. And Alan Menken wrote a new song.
Yep, and so there's going to be some classics, some new stuff. The president of Disney Pictures came out, the guy who never gets nearly as much credit as Kevin Feige does for being the president of Marvel, but he does some pretty damn good work.
Right.
He came out and he said, one of the things about making these live action incarnations is that we want to be true to the spirit of them, but we do want to adapt them for a modern audience. And it really looks like they found, look, we only saw about 5 or 6 minutes of it.
Yeah.
But it feels like they found that balance. It feels like they found that chord that they wanted to strike. And so, I mean, just really, really good stuff. And I was impressed by it. So what's next?
Well, then they kind of switched it up because they did the Fox presentation. I think it was after Endgame, but kind of up front.
Yeah.
And they talked about how it was Emma Watts was talking about that studio filmmaking, big budget with big stars, big studio powerhouse filmmaking is still part of the mandate of what Fox is going to be doing. And they introduced a clip. They showed it was great. I mean, I guess it was a long trailer. With scenes
for
Ford versus Ferrari. That stars Matt Damon and Christian Bale.
John Bernthal.
Yeah, John Bernthal. Matt Damon plays Carl Shelby, or Carol Shelby, who, if you know anything about Fords, created the great Shelby. You can only get his kit cars now, but if you have an original, it's worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. But it's about they took on Ferrari in Le Mans, and Lee Iacocca. Lee Iacocca, Tracy Letts plays Lee Iacocca. And that Lee Iacocca puts the mandate out. We gotta beat Enzo Ferrari. We're gonna take him and beat him in his own game.
I thought Bernthal was Iacocca.
No, Tracy Letts was Iacocca because he was in the car next to him when they were driving.
He was
at
Ford.
The end. Was he? He wasn't. Was he?
He just has my name on the wheel.
Oh well, then I guess I'm wrong.
I think Bernthal said in it, "I'm Lee Iacocca."
You might be right. You might be right about that.
I might be wrong. But...
I was just thinking Punisher because Tracy Letts looks like Lee Iacocca. Old. That makes sense. Okay, that makes sense. So he's Ford. Either way, this movie looks so good. It was directed by Mangold. It looks incredible.
And that's the thing. Directed by the guy who directed Logan. I mean, and this is the first footage I think they've ever shown of it.
Yeah, I don't think they've shown it to anyone.
And Bale looks like Bale. I mean, I haven't seen Bale like a real strong presence on screen. Matt Damon looked great. I just had this epic
you're right.
feel to it.
Bernthal was Lee Iacocca.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I only know the only reason I knew that is because he introduced himself.
Tracy Letts looks like Lee Iacocca.
He does look like Lee Iacocca. But it felt a little bit like Rush with Daniel Bruhl and Chris Hemsworth, only on steroids and intensified. And it had some great dialogue in it. It's like, Ford's never been afraid to go to war. Shelby, go to war.
Yeah, I love that. It was so good. It looks look, if you like car racing and if you like movies like Tucker and you liked Rush, I mean, this movie looks like it's firing on all cylinders, and it's coming out. I think it's a Fox Searchlight movie.
It's a Searchlight movie.
Yeah, it's a Searchlight movie, and boy, it looks to me like an Oscar contender, and it's wildly entertaining. It's funny. Matt Damon is great. It's a movie that wasn't really on my radar, but now it is.
Right.
I mean, it's easily going to be one of the best of 2019.
Hey, and I just want to mention this too. There may be some people who are wondering, like, we're talking about the Endgame stuff that we saw. There might be some people wondering, like, are you spoiling something? Look, if they just showed it to 6,000 of us,
right?
you can probably bet your ass they're going to release that clip. It might even already be online. The clip they showed to us, they will probably release to everybody before the movie comes out. So don't worry about that. They just showed it to 6,000 people, including press.
And it had a May 26th or April 26th date at the end, so it looked like it was a promo clip.
It's going to be they're probably going to release that at any rate. So there's Ford Ferrari. It looks amazing. One that I have not been interested in, despite the fact that it has Dave Bautista in it, and I really like Dave Bautista, Kumail Nanjiani, who I love. The Big Sick is one of my favorite films of the last few years. Them together in a movie called Stuber, thank you. Which is, Kumail plays a guy named Stu, and he's an Uber driver. This is the second film in a row he's been in that he's an Uber driver, but I guess that's what he really did.
Right.
That's what he did when he was trying to break into entertainment. But it looks awesome.
Yeah, it
looks awesome.
I guess it debuted at South by Southwest, so
and the reviews have been off the chart.
It looks, Bautista looks great as this detective. The movie looks bananas, hilarious in the best way.
And it was a Fox one too, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Stuber is a Fox
Stuber's
one.
a Fox movie.
And it looked funny. Like, they came out and said, hey guys, this one's really funny. And we're like, okay, yeah, sure, you're the studio president. Of course you're saying it's funny. And saying the reception at South by Southwest was overwhelming. It's like, okay. And then they started putting up all these quotes from people we know who have seen it and like raving about it. It's like, all right, let's watch this. Then they showed us about 5 minutes of it. And we were all giggling and laughing. And I love Dave Bautista. I got a feeling Kumail's going to be probably doing a lot of the comedic heavy lifting in this, but they worked together on screen.
They had great chemistry. It really looked good.
And so I pleasantly surprised by that. I was not looking forward to that. All right, now let's go on to another film by Fox. So what we've talked about Ford
Dark
Ferrari,
Phoenix.
We've talked about Stuber, we've talked about Endgame, we've talked about Deadpool. Okay. X-Men Dark Phoenix.
Now, first of all, we have to say that Emma Watts said definitively, this is the end of the Fox X-Men films.
Yeah, it's done. They're done. So clearly, they're moving that in.
They never said anything about any future that the X-Men have,
but
other
this
than Deadpool.
Incarnation, this 20-year storyline they've been doing is now done with this, and that's fine.
It was definitive.
And then they showed some clips. I'd say a good half of it is stuff we have seen in the trailers before, but the other half was not. And I'll tell you this right now. This was the best looking presentation of X-Men Dark Phoenix they've ever shown to anybody.
Yeah, I agree with you.
It blows the other trailers they've put out and everything out of the water. Why they didn't lead with this is completely beyond me.
Just a lot more character stuff, a lot more the obviously the stakes are raised. It made me interested. I'm very interested. I've always loved the Fox X-Men films, having worked on 2 of them doing DVD special features, but I really this looks a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, and you know what? It's beyond just looking better than what I thought. It looked good.
Yeah.
It looked good. Now, I don't know, maybe it's a steaming pile of crap, because we've heard not great things. Right? So maybe it's a steaming pile of crap, but I got to tell you, what we saw, look, there's this great scene they showed us, and I'm sure it's going to be in an upcoming promotional spot, because they'll probably release what they showed us, but where Magneto is floating in the air facing off against Phoenix or Jean, and it just shows them facing off, and he's got his Magneto helmet on, and Jean looks at him, and I don't know what the conversation was before it, but Jean says to him, "Are you threatening me?"
Right.
And he just goes, "Yes, I am." And then she, to quote Stone Cold Steve Austin, opens up a can of whoop ass on him.
Yeah.
It
It looks like part of that scene's where we see she's crushing his head, but that's not what she does in this scene. She tears apart.
She rips his helmet apart.
She rips
goes,
his helmet apart.
And his helmet rips apart. And then
it was very cool.
Poof, and this kicks his ass.
Yeah.
But anyway, it just looked really good. And they gave us a better look at, she's in It Chapter 2.
Jessica Chastain.
They gave us a much better look at Jessica Chastain in these spots than they've shown us in the others as well.
Who I guess is she's billed as the alien.
Yeah, they're not letting us know who she is.
Right.
Which is fine, whatever. But again, I've still heard it's not good. But damn it, if they didn't put together a presentation that make it looks like it's good.
And I think it's really interesting that they're Disney and Fox are now a company. It's not going to take them a year to figure out what they're doing.
No.
They're full speed ahead. And that was the big takeaway that I got from this is that Fox is moving forward, Disney is moving forward, all hands on deck. They're not going to miss a step.
I still don't think it's going to be a while till we see the X-Men in the MCU, though.
Right. Oh, yeah.
But they're working on it now.
They didn't address any of that. They did not say anything about... They did not present anything from Spider-Man Far From Home, which they wouldn't because it's Sony.
Sony's the distributor.
Sony is the distributor.
Yeah.
So there was nothing beyond Endgame. They didn't say anything about the future of the MCU at all.
They did not. The words Fantastic Four were never uttered. So there's a lot of that stuff. Also, right off the bat, because I know a lot of you are probably wondering this, and I should have partially led with this. So the chairman of World Distribution for Disney came out, and she just let everybody know off the bat. Because she knew we were all thinking it.
Right.
Because we were looking at this Star Wars Episode 9 logo up on the screen. And she goes, we have nothing to show you today from Star Wars Episode 9. And the whole audience
She led with that.
Yeah. The whole audience was,
And then she followed that up by saying she has nothing to show us from Frozen 2 either.
Yeah, which is kind of understandable. That's coming out in November. But the Star Wars stuff makes sense. Why? Because next week there's a little thing called Star Wars Celebration. And they're going to drop everything there.
Right.
Title, probably first teaser, behind the scenes featurettes. They weren't going to reveal that here. They're going to reveal that to the people, to the fans paying money to fly out to Chicago. And you know what? Rightfully so. I mean, I wanted to see something here, but rightfully so. They saved it for the people that are the fans that are paying to fly out there to see it. They're the ones who deserve to see it and see it first. And it would have been everywhere if they showed it here.
Right.
It would have been everywhere. Yeah. So no Star Wars stuff, other than the fact that they seem pretty hyped about it.
Yeah, they
seem very hyped about it. So anyway, there's that. Man, there was a lot to cover in this. All right, let's talk about this. Probably the best moment for me, and I'm saying that understanding that we got this full Avengers Endgame scene. That was the second best thing of this Disney presentation. They showed us a big elongated clip, not 17 minutes like Toy Story, but
it was a nice clip.
It was a good size clip of the film from Lion King.
Oh my God. I mean, it's astonishing. It really is.
It's the scene, just to set the picture, the scene from the animated film. Mufasa, and what's Simba's mother's name again? I can't remember the mother's name. Anyway, so Mufasa and Simba's mother are sleeping, and a little Simba comes pouncing and jumping on his dad's head. Dad, wake up, wake up. And just like from the animated one, the mom says, your son is here.
Yeah.
And Mufasa, in the voice of James Earl Jones, before dawn, he's your son, which is like a great line. And it's adorable. This little lion kitten jumping up and down on Mufasa's head.
And the animation, and it's just, if you love Lion King, this takes Lion King up to 11. I mean, it's really, yeah.
But here's the thing then. They, like in the animated movie, the scene progresses where it's now them walking out, and it gets to the part where Mufasa takes Simba to the top of a large rock, not Pride Rock, but a large rock, and gives him the speech, everything the light touches is our kingdom, right? And as they're climbing that rock, I kid you, I swear to God, this is absolutely true. As they're climbing that rock, And Mufasa's moving ahead, and Simba's coming up behind him, and they start to sit, and they're looking out on this gorgeous, beautifully rendered out like African landscape.
It's just astonishing.
I started tearing. I started having a couple of tears coming out. I couldn't help it. I was getting so emotional watching it. I had tears starting to come out of my eyes.
Yeah. Well, then it continued where they're walking and they're having that conversation about the antelope.
Well, they hit the first time we meet Zazu. Zazu, that's great seeing the anime thing when
voiced by John Oliver,
which was perfect.
Oh my God,
which was perfect.
It was it's unbelievable.
So, Mufasa goes, "What's the morning report?" And of course, Zazu starts in, "Well, the orangutans are going positively ape." And but a lot of original jokes.
Yeah, there was a lot of it was really, really good. And he keeps going on and on and on.
And then of course the gag where Mufasa takes this opportunity to be a learning opportunity for Simba, and Simba pounces on Zazu, and then it ends. So the clip ends, and it's the only time in this whole presentation when a clip ended and you heard the whole audience going, "No, no, play more, play more!" Like they even ended the Endgame clip, and everybody's like, "Yeah." They did the Toy Story one, they did Ford Ferrari, but when the Lion King one ended and went to black, the whole audience was like, "No, more!" Like I had become so wrapped up in it. I'm telling you guys.
I'm convinced that movie, like we talked about, it is going to gross $2 billion worldwide. I mean, even me, middle-aged dude that I am, I'm watching this. It's jaw-dropping. It's just astonishing to look at. It's so much fun. It's the magic of the movies writ large on the big screen. It's just.
We can't put into words how good this looked. Like, there's just no putting into words.
And it wasn't finished. There's a lot of they said some of the shots weren't quite finished.
Yeah, they said not all the effects are done, not all the coloring is right, not all blah, blah. So it's like, this is the unfinished version? Are you shitting me right now?
Yeah, this movie's going to be monstrously huge.
I'm going to sleep on it and I'm going to calm down a bit. But if you were to ask me right now, John, you have a choice right now. You can come downstairs into the theater and watch Avengers Endgame, Star Wars Episode 9, or The Lion King right now. I'll be damned if I wouldn't pick the door that said Lion King on it. Now, give me a day. Give me a day. I will probably answer that question differently tomorrow.
I'd still go with Endgame.
But I am so psyched right now for this Lion King movie. It's and I was excited before, but this was the first time I saw real footage from the movie. And I was not expecting or anticipating the level of emotional response I was going to have. And you could feel that emotional response coming from a lot of people.
Yeah, you could really, it was like being in a church revival in the Deep South. When the Spirit of the Lord is, everybody's on their feet singing. And man, that's, even though nobody was on their feet singing, but you could feel that everybody kind of wanted to.
This movie's going to be huge.
It's going to be huge, and it's just huge. Really good.
And so I could literally sit here for the next 2 hours just talking about the Lion King stuff. But let's move on from that. Toy Story?
That was it. Yeah, Toy Story was what we thought we were going to get a trailer or something.
Yep. Fully expecting a little bit of footage. The producer of Toy Story 4 comes out, who had also worked on the first Toy Story.
Right.
And he told a neat story. He goes, when we first got a room together, a creative room together, to talk about maybe doing Toy Story 4, he said, our prevailing thought was, and I know a lot of fans have said this too, he said, our prevailing thought was, we ended it in Toy Story 3. We ended the story in Toy Story 3. He said, and then Andrew Stanton came in the room, who was, of course, one of the big high lords of Pixar. He's directed a lot of the films there. He directed John Carter of Mars, which was awesome. But anyway, he's one of the godfathers there. And he said, Andrew Stanton came in and said, guys, yeah, it was a great ending. But it was the ending to Andy's story. It wasn't the ending of Woody's story. And then he said, that's when a light bulb went off. It's like, oh, right. And then he said everybody's creative juices got flowing at that point. Because he said, we were all stuck because we thought that was the end of the story in number 3. And Stanton says, nah, it was the end of Andy's story. And I got to tell you, that same light bulb kind of went off with me as an audience member too when he said that.
And we didn't know what they were going to show us at this point.
Nope.
But it was intriguing, and suddenly what he did was all the audience is going, yeah, right. They suckered us. They made us believe in Andrew's idea as well, and we all did.
Oh, we all bought into it. And then he goes...
Then he hits us with it.
He goes, so guys, what we'd like to do is show you, and we're expecting a clip from, or a new trailer that no one's seen yet. Or he goes, we'd like to show you the first 17 minutes of Toy Story 4. And everybody in the theater was like, what?
Yeah.
And they showed us the first, and it was a great balance of the nostalgia of the original 3 films. They did this kind of time warp thing, like showing...
It opens with a flashback, too.
Yes, that's right. The 9
years ago.
9 years ago. That's right. On the night... Because what is it, Toy Story 3, when, we find out that Bo Peep was no longer with them, but they never said what happened?
No.
This 9 years ago goes back to the night that they lost Bo Peep.
Yes. And that was a great... I mean, it's not a great scene if you love Bo Peep, but it was a great scene.
It was a great scene.
The whole thing was a great scene, and then they have this, like a montage about how the toys leave Andy's possession and go to his little sister.
Yeah, Andy growing up, and then... Or not his little sister, that's not his little sister. That's another... Another girl, another family. But,
Right.
And it kind of, the montage ends with that great scene in Toy Story 3 with Andy passing off Woody to Bonnie.
Bonnie, that's right.
Handing him off to Bonnie. And then it picks up now back in present day in Bonnie's room, and Bonnie playing with the toys, and she's going to kindergarten.
Yeah, it's her first day of it's her kindergarten orientation.
And we won't go into everything that happens in it, just in case there's some of this they won't share in marketing. But this is all just the setup to the movie. We're not giving any big plot. This is the setup to the movie. But she goes off to kindergarten. Woody's kind of watching over her shoulder, keeping an eye on her, and all this kind. It recaptured. Look, that Toy Story 4 trailer that came out, I wasn't actually all that big of a fan of it.
Right, it was okay.
I mean, it was okay. It's Toy Story. It's a trailer, whatever. It certainly didn't recapture that magic of Toy Story for me.
No.
But this scene did. I felt like I was watching Toy Story again.
There is kind of a spoiler that you need to about this new character. We shouldn't talk about that.
Well, I mean, the character Forky.
Yeah, but
you see in the trailer.
We see but it's kind of Forky's origin is fun.
Yes, Forky's origin is fun. We won't give away what it is,
and it becomes very legit. That Forky character, I'm like, what is that for? It's really legit. It works really, really, really well.
Like, it's the first time in a while that I've really bought into the idea of an animated character having an existential crisis.
Right.
And that is seriously the best way to put it. This Forky is having this major existential crisis, and it just plays.
It works
great.
really well.
It plays really well. It works really well. But again, out of the 20 films they popped up there was a lot they did not show us or talk about. All the major ones we wanted to. They showed us Endgame. They showed us Lion King. They showed us Toy Story. They showed us Aladdin. They showed us Ford Ferrari. They showed us Stuber. It was a great presentation.
And Dark Phoenix.
And Dark Phoenix, which was the best of the bunch. And here's the funny thing. You ever hear, like, when an NFL player scores a touchdown and really overreacts, and you'll hear the commentator say, hey, come on, guy, act like you've been there before. You know? Disney is now... They were already kinda, but now that they've acquired Fox, they are the most powerful studio in the business. And they conducted this presentation like they knew that.
Right.
Like, they were there to thank the movie theater owners because they know we don't exist without movie. Alan Horn made this impassioned speech about how our focus is always the movie theater. Like, that, this is where everything starts with us and blah, blah, blah. Which was probably good for him to say because, Disney's got their streaming service started. To have Alan come out and say, look, our focus is always the movie theater, blah, blah. That was good for him to do. But they acted like very pro, like, hey, we're putting out great content. And you're great partners, and you're going to show this content, and we want to show you what we have coming. And they handled it very well.
It was interesting, too. It's been a really interesting dichotomy, we'll see all of these studios, because Universal was very corporate. We learned about their corporate structure and how it all works. It was a very corporate presentation. This was a Fortune 500 presentation.
Yeah.
This was a presentation of people that know they're on top of the planet. They know they're at the top of their game.
And at the top of the food chain.
And at the top of the food chain, they delivered a. There was no fat in this presentation. This was just a very efficient, very well run, very articulate. I felt like if these three presentations were collegiate, this was definitely an Ivy League. This was the Princeton of the movie presentations that we saw. I don't know what I would call the Universal and Warner Brothers presentation using the collegiate analogy, but I really felt like, okay.
Division 2.
This is, even though that's not really fair.
No, we liked their presentation. We loved Warner Brothers' presentation.
But this was just quick, efficient,
It's funny when you think about, coming out of the Universal presentation that we saw this morning, they seem to have two opposite philosophies. Universal's philosophy seemed to be, let's bring all the stars and not really show anything new.
Right.
And Disney was like, let's not bring any of the stars and show them all this new stuff. Guess what got us talking more? Showing us all the new stuff.
Well, it was the stuff because we hadn't seen it before. I mean, it was in a way, it was disappointing because the whole premise was they were supposed to show you new stuff.
Yeah.
And the Disney Fox presentation just laid out new stuff. No one had seen anything from Ford versus Ferrari. No one had seen, other than Dark Phoenix, but then they added enough
new
stuff. We didn't know we were going to see 17 minutes of Toy Story. We certainly hadn't seen that full scene of Endgame.
The Lion King stuff.
And the Lion King, and even Aladdin. If anybody had second thoughts about Aladdin, I think those fears were done away with. And by the way, this was by far the shortest presentation.
By far.
This was over an hour.
1 hour.
And that was interesting because Disney knew exactly what everybody was there to see. They were efficient, and they delivered their joy to us in the most efficient way possible.
Yep.
And they got out when they needed to get out.
One of the interesting, and dare I say, a little uncomfortable thing, and I'm sure they didn't mean it to come across this way, but they made a big deal about this. I mean, and rightfully so. The epic merger of two of the most iconic companies in the history of Hollywood now merged together and blah, 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 blah. So they bring out this president of Fox Film Production.
Emma Watts.
I got to tell you, Rob, there were times she felt a little awkward. She's like, well,
she actually said that. She said, we used to be competitors.
Last year we were here at Cinemacon as competitors.
And now we're collaborators. And look, 20th Century Fox, obviously an incredible place to work. Emma's one of the most well-regarded, as I don't know her. I sat in a screening room with her once and watched Days of Future Past. That's all I know. But it was a small screening room. There was like 10 of us.
I know the screening room we're talking about.
And I'm with you. I think she's happy to have her job. She's one of the smartest executives in all of Hollywood, but it felt a little melancholy.
It felt like
little melancholy,
and also a little bit of I'm not happy about this, but I gotta look happy about this. And look, I'm sure she's thrilled. Look, one of the things she said in her presentation was, now we at Fox Searchlight and 20th Century Fox, and she made a point of saying this specifically, having the resources of Disney behind us. That's got to feel good.
Right.
But it was it seemed a little apprehensive. It seemed a little bit about, I don't know, like I'm still not sure what I think about this or if I don't know. But look, I don't want to read into it. The fact of the matter is she painted a great picture, showed us some great stuff, got us excited about the future of 20th Century Fox. I'm personally excited about the idea of Deadpool staying under the 20th Century Fox banner.
And
Alien and all that kind of stuff.
Now, I wish they would shift Star Wars back so we could get the 20th Century Fox logo in front of the... I don't think they're ever going to do that. I understand.
I would get a kick out of that too, but it's not important.
By the way, there was one thing we didn't talk about that did delight me.
Oh, what was that?
So Alan Horn, Alan Horn's a man of business, and he's talking about the movies that Fox Searchlight won Best Picture.
Yeah.
And he gets to Shape of Water, and he just kind of stopped himself. He's going off book. He's like, the shape of water. Water doesn't have a shape.
Yeah,
it's almost like he was talking to
himself,
and it was kind of funny. He's like, and then once he said the joke, he said it again. He goes, I still don't understand.
Yeah, what does that mean?
Called the shape of
Why
water?
is it called Shape of Water?
And I just thought it was a genuine moment, If it was scripted, then Alan Horn's a great actor.
I don't think it was scripted.
I thought it was very funny, and it was just because he's reading off these titles, and it was. I love when you get to see a glimpse of a real person's personality in front of all the pomp and circumstance of this global rollout to literally all of the exhibitors around the world, and you get to see a little bit of humanity in the process. And kudos to Alan Horn for that, because I like that, sir.
I would have loved to if Disney had already owned Fox when they were doing Shape of Water. I would love to have heard that conversation between him and Guillermo del Toro. That's great, Guillermo, but why Shape of Water? What is that? What is that? But I was kind of hoping that Alan Horn would come out and start his speech with, first of all, everybody want to apologize for the way I handled the James Gunn situation at first. I clearly mismanaged that. I wasn't forthright with the audience, but he didn't do it, so fine. We'll let that go. But look, overall, a fun, very revealing, very informative. We got more information coming out of that than I thought we were going to get.
I did too, especially about the disposition of Fox.
Yeah, and the future of Aliens, future of Deadpool, future of, obviously more Avatar. They didn't talk about Avatar.
No.
Because that's because Avatar's not coming out this year.
But they did mention James Cameron.
Yes.
And
they put up graphics of Avatar.
And there was a couple of clips actually from True Lies in their presentation. So I'm like, why don't I have True Lies in the Abyss? Why? I know. And why don't I have Soderbergh's Solaris, and why don't I have Strange Days? They're all Lightstorm films. Well, I do have Strange Days, but it's on German Blu-ray, not domestic. Get these out. I want them.
So anyway, guys, that was the Disney presentation. It was great. One presentation left to go, and that is Paramount. So Paramount has their presentation tomorrow. I'm not really sure off the top of my head what they're going to talk about. Maybe they can explain these stupid statements coming from De Bonaventura about, now we're going to do the sequel to Transformers The Last Night. What? Anyway, maybe they'll explain that. I don't know. But listen, guys, we're now going to take some time and take your live questions. What do you guys want to talk about? It's up to you. So let's jump in there and see what you guys are talking about. We're going to start things off here with Jay Meister25, who writes, I know we're not supposed to judge movies based on trailers, but Will Smith's Genie feels off to me. Hopefully the movie proves me wrong. Keep up the awesome work. Love everything you do. Dude, the word I've used is Ghibli. It's felt Ghibli. There's just something not quite right about it. But like Rob said, I'm no longer worried about it. After seeing what I saw, I'm like, no, I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, and after what we saw, it works great. I felt the way you did. It looked Ghibli. It didn't look good. There was something. After what we saw today, I'm like, okay. It
was as close as you could get to doing a fateful live-action version of that Never Had a Friend Like Me scene. It really was. I don't know how you could do it any better.
It was actually cool. There's cool surreal elements. What's really interesting is I find it strange when marketing departments or whoever put that first trailer, the first two trailers together actually, that they don't know this.
Yeah.
That why don't they wait? Like if they had led with this Friend Like
totally
Me clip,
different narrative. Totally different narrative.
People would have been like, oh my God, I'm excited for this now. Yeah.
Sign me up. You know what's funny? The first trailer came out and I said, okay, not bad. And everybody hated it. But I was like, not bad. Then the second trailer came out and everybody's like, oh, this is better. And I'm like, that was crap. I didn't like that. But now I think a lot of people are going to like this. All right, let's move on here. Lisa Reed sends in a super chat. Thank you, Lisa. Clay Woodley writes, John, your show is awesome. Thank you so much. Deadline is reporting that Endgame could make over $840 million worldwide in its opening weekend. That's insane. I have another word for it. Meaningless. It's meaningless. Look, this is why I say, never worry about, is 840 million a huge number? Absolutely it is. Of course it is. But it doesn't mean anything because this movie is going to be opening in more markets on its opening weekend simultaneously than most films do. A lot of films will open in one market on opening weekend or in 5 markets, some in 12. This one's opening in dozens of markets in its opening weekend. So that's why when we talk about opening weekend numbers, we never talk about global opening weekend numbers because it's you can't compare it. You can only compare it if a movie opens in the exact same markets at the exact same time. That's not the case. So we only talk about North American opening weekend numbers, and then when we talk about the overall numbers, we talk about the worldwide numbers overall. So yes, 840 is insane, but it's nothing we can compare it to. So I'm not really worried about that number. I'm more worried about the domestic release. And then when the final tally comes in, what the global number is, how close to 3 billion does it get?
Right.
Will it be closer to 2 billion or will it be closer to 3? We're going to find that out. But it's still a very big number. Most movies would kill in their entire run to make $800 million.
God.
And it's a huge, huge number, Clay. Okay. Jeremiah Jacquez sends in a super chat. Thank you, Jeremiah. Ben Ellum writes, got my Thursday night tickets for Endgame, first year away at college, and the Regal here doesn't have a sign saying, oh, dreading getting in line to get seats. Look, guys, I'm not kidding. That's the frickin' Dark Ages. That's the Dark Ages. Like, you literally are going to have to go now 2 or 3 hours, maybe more, in advance to sit on your ass on some concrete just so you get a decent seat for a seat you paid for.
But kudos to your
Dark
first
Ages.
year in college, Ben.
Yes. Let's focus on the positive. Well done, Rob. Let's focus on the positive. Good on you, and at least you got your tickets, man. At least you got your tickets. Now, let me look at it this way. You're probably going to have to sit in line less than people sat in digital lines trying to get tickets in the first place when they came out. So I guess there's that. Thanks for sharing that, Ben.
He follows it up.
He does. Oh, and Ben then follows up, missing my local AMC back home, I bet. Especially without having, not the Dark Ages, reserved seating. There's just no excuse for it. There's no excuse for it. Anyway, Dave Atkins writes, hope Marvel announces plans for another superhero game similar to Spider-Man. I don't think... that would be Sony that would need to make that announcement, I guess.
Right, I guess.
I mean, look, the important thing here isn't that it was Spider-Man, it's that they made a good game. And here's hoping whoever made, I can't remember the name of the studio that made the Spider-Man game.
Yeah, I don't know.
But hopefully another company comes along, makes a great game based on an IP. And yeah, a lot of people really love that Spider-Man game. I played a little bit of it too. Not well. I didn't play it well. Kevin Laniel writes, when you said H3 Avengers would turn people down, 3-hour Avengers would turn people down, you gave the example of Ray said he wouldn't go, yet Ray bought tickets, not only 1, but 2 shows, because I told him to. Because I told him to. Yeah, it's just a fact. There are people out there who are not going to go, at least not to the theater, to go see Avengers Endgame, because there are people who just get turned off by long run times, just like they did for Lord of the Rings, just like they did for others. It's not going to be enough to turn it, now this movie's only going to make $200 million. No, nothing like that. But it is, it's true. There's a lot of people who feel that way. Kevin Laniel follows up with, my point is they're just lying to themselves. No, they're not. Look, because I know people who didn't go see Lord of the Rings when it was in theater. I know a number of people that waited till it was on video and stuff like that. Here's the thing, Kevin. A lot of people, we all do this, but particularly in the fan community, we have a neighborhood mentality that if I think something and the people I hang out with in my circle think something, that means everybody thinks that way. And we all do it. We all do that. There was an old sociology term for that, but it's no longer a good term to use, so I'm not going to use it. But there was even a sociological term for it. The habit that we have to think that, well, I and the people I associate and talk with and socialize with, we think this way. That means everybody thinks this way. And it's just not true. You may not know anybody personally that is like, 3-hour movie. I don't want to go to the theater for a 3-hour movie. But believe me, there are lots of them out there.
I'm not one of them.
No, nor am I. Nor are you. But believe that beyond your bubble, and we all have our bubbles of influence and social bubbles, just believe that outside of your bubble, there are people who feel differently. And
even when I was a kid, I went and saw The Deer Hunter and Gandhi.
Yeah.
3 hours, no sweat.
But you are not the representation
True.
of...
True.
of
My mom didn't know The Deer
casual-
Hunter was 3 hours when she took me, nor did she know that they showed
She
Russian
probably wouldn't have
roulette.
taken you.
No, she never would have.
All right, let's move on here. Caleb Kaiser writes, when should we expect another Lion King trailer? Do you think one will be attached to Endgame? It's irrelevant what movie. See, we're living in an era where it's irrelevant about what movie it's attached to. They all hit online before
Right.
they ever attach to a movie. At least 99% of the times now. I suspect with them now showing us this footage, I suspect another trailer's probably imminent. Like probably within the next 14 days, I would think.
Yeah. Although this trailer didn't have a lot of diversity.
Well, it wasn't
footage.
a trailer. It was
the scene was a scene, you know, and it was not. It didn't show a lot. But it showed Simba and Mufasa, and it was great. I actually just want to watch a whole movie of John Oliver.
He was so funny.
It was so funny.
Anyway, great choice for the role. Okay, let's move on here. Nathan Oswald writes, I'm seeing Shazam on Friday at 1:15. Good on ya. I've seen it. This gentleman sitting beside me is going to see it tomorrow. And then on Friday, I'm going to go see it again. I'm going to see it. I'm seeing it for my second time tomorrow with you. Then I'm going to go see it for a third time with Cody's coming into town.
Right.
So me and Cody and his wife, Allie, we're going to go and watch it. Very excited to watch Shazam multiple times. I love this movie. In case
you are a song and dance man.
I love Shazam.
You can turn anything into a song.
Unapologetic about it. I love Shazam. I love this movie. Guys, don't let the Endgame frenzy right now make you lose sight that Shazam is in theaters right now. Well, at least as of tomorrow. It's in theaters right now. Get your tickets for Shazam. Go see Shazam. Go have some fun, guys. All right. I feel like it's my responsibility to be an evangelist for this movie.
You should
guys
be.
Gotta see this movie. It's so good. Okay, anyway. Let's move on here. Have a good time, Nathan, by the way. McKinley Woodson writes, thank you, John. You rock. Thank you so much, McKinley. I am getting worried about Shazam with Endgame dominating buzz. What would you consider a good box office run for Shazam? Well, look, the reality is Shazam is a movie that, from all the reports I've seen, is clocking in at about a $90 million box office, which means, I mean, dude, seriously, anything over 290 is profitable. This movie makes $350 million worldwide. It's golden.
Yeah.
That means it's making money. It's profitable. It'd be another win. Believe the critics love this movie. Believe me, the fans are going to love this movie.
How crazy is it that we live? If you geeks out there have any doubt that we don't live in the most amazing time ever, there are 2 Captain Marvel movies in the theater at the same time. That, my friends, might be the craziest geek thing ever. For those who don't know, Shazam is actually called Captain Marvel. Was called Captain Marvel. One of my favorite serials from the 40s is The Adventures of Captain Marvel, which you can get on Blu-ray.
Remember the television show where they're in the Winnebago?
Oh, yeah.
Remember how
Billy
bad
Batson and his mentor.
Remember how bad the animated Council of the Seven looked?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
I love Shazam, though.
But anyway,
and
this
ISIS.
movie's great. This movie's great, guys. Okay, let's move on here. So anyway, I think understanding that it doesn't need to make $700 million to be profitable, it'll be fine. Shazam's, and look, I guarantee you that Warner Brothers made Shazam knowing that wasn't going to be a $1 billion film. They don't need it to be a $1 billion film.
Right.
It'll make money because it's just too good. The word of mouth is going to spread. It's just too good not to make money. So at least it damn well better because this movie deserves your support. Believe that.
People are going to love it.
All right, let's move on here. Alex Pollock writes, really dug the Joker trailer. It's exactly what I thought it would be. Was super surprised to see that they're using the Brooklyn Army Terminal as Arkham. It's 5 minutes from my house, and my grandmother goes there for dialysis. Was that the Arkham?
Yeah.
Was that Arkham? It kind of looked like it would be a facility like that.
Yeah.
I was thrilled. Like we talked about this last night. They actually showed us the trailer last night, and we did our Warner Brothers presentation report. I was very happy with that Joker trailer.
Loved it.
Yeah, we talked about it ad nauseum already, but it was everything. I agree with you, Alex, completely. It was everything I wanted it to be, and it was better than what I was imagining. And the whole character aspect of it, the whole descent into madness aspect of it, the idea of a man who's just had enough, and finally he breaks.
Right. It's good.
It's just, and Joaquin, how good does he look in this movie?
It looks incredible.
Oh, man. Seriously, I did this for Shazam, and I just realized I did this for Joe. How long has it been since we've had a couple of, a string of DC movies coming out that we can all do this about?
It's fantastic.
It's a good day.
Fantastic.
It's a good day. Okay, let's move on here. Static Space Sean writes, was 10 Cloverfield Lane made as an original movie, and then they just slapped the name on it, or was it always planned to be a Cloverfield world? I believe it was always planned as a Cloverfield movie.
I think so too.
I don't know anymore.
The Cloverfield Paradox was not. That was shot as a movie called The God Particle.
Right. And by the way, that movie sucked.
It was really disappointing.
Really bad. And it was the first time they were like, I still remember we were watching the Super Bowl, and all of a sudden they make this commercial.
Right.
Debuting on Netflix tonight. And we're like, what? It's not coming to theaters and it's dropping on Netflix tonight? What a coup. And then we saw the film and was like, oh, that's why it got dropped on Netflix.
Yeah, it didn't make
So
a lick of
bad.
sense.
So bad. Anyway, so disappointing. But anyway, that's as far as we know Static Space. If you know anything different or if you find out anything different, let us know. But I believe it was always planned that way. Luis Blanco writes, ticket sites to people who try and fail to get tickets over and over again. You could not live with your own failure. And where did it bring you? Back to me. Like, so AMCs are like, back to me. It's so funny. I get this email from AMC. And by the way, look, let's be clear here. I love AMC. I'm a big fan of AMC. I have worked with AMC. I have very fond memories of working with AMC. To me, the best theater chain in the business. But they dropped the ball badly. Like, they totally screwed up. They had an entire year to prep for this. They've gone through it 3 times already. They should have been prepared. And then last night, after they were crashed for like 8 or 9 hours, and with frustrated fans, frustrated customers, frustrated people not being able to use their AMC A-list thing on it, they sent out this they have the audacity to send out this email in the evening going, good news, everybody. AMC is here with your Avengers Endgame tickets. AMC.com is here. Come on over to the website now. We're up. It's like, you sons of bitches. Acting like, oh, everything's cool. Everything's fine. Anyway. And again, I love this company. I do. But when I smell shit, I'm going to say it smells like, I'm going to say it smells like crap. But anyway, there's that. But yep, that's a very good analogy, Louis. And I think you're right. Luis, I should say. All right. Jeff Mellons writes, please pray for the theater showing Endgame with video issues opening night. I remember. I can't remember if it was Ultron or if it was Infinity War. Might have been Infinity War or might have been Ultron. But there was AMC Burbank 16. One of the theaters wasn't working right. And the police had to come. Because people were upset.
I vaguely remember that. Yeah.
People were upset. It might have been Phantom, or not Phantom Menace, The Force Awakens. It might have been one of the Star Wars movies. It might have been one of the Avengers movies. At any rate, it was one of the big major movies. And the crowds are lined up, and the screen didn't work, and people were pissed, and the thing got so tense, and people were yelling at staff, which wasn't the staff's fault.
No.
But they're screaming at staff, and it got so tense, they had to call the cops. Can you imagine? Can you imagine the Dome, the ArcLight Dome?
Oh, dude, don't say that theater. Say any other theater.
Don't speak it into
reality. The hell you say? Don't talk about the Dome.
Anyway, that would be, you're right. Pray for those people, Jeff. Pray for those people. Dark Sith writes, thank you for all you guys do, my dynamic duo. Thank you so much, Dark. I appreciate that very much. Life's Good writes, and it is good, isn't it? Life's Good writes, Captain Marvel is now in the $1 billion club, or as somebody wrote to us today, the $1 brillion. $1 brillion. It is now, and they, of course, Disney had to take a moment to talk about that. As she came on stage, Captain Marvel's now become the 7th film in the MCU to join the $1 billion club, or the brillion dollar club as they're calling it right now. They had to touch on that. Okay. In Poor Taste Humor writes, I think what if is short or broken for what do you think, or if what are your thoughts if. To be fair, English isn't everyone's first language. No, but I get it from a lot of people whose English is their first language, and it's not a good question. See, this is what I'm trying to tell everybody now. If you start to write out a what if question, take the word what out. So if you're about to ask me, what if Kevin Feige brings the X-Men into the MCU this year? Well, then the answer is Kevin Feige brings the X-Men into that's what. Now, what I want to suggest to people is take the word what out. So when you write it out, take the word what out. And you have, if Kevin Feige brings the X-Men into the MCU universe this year, now you'll know, oh yeah, I got to actually write in a question.
Sure.
So that's the better way to think of it. So just take the word what out, and you got, if Kevin Feige brings the X-Men into the universe this year, do you think that would be rushing it? Do you think that's what this? Or do you think that would be received well by the fans? Or do you think that's going to be financially successful? So just think of it in those terms. It makes it a lot easier if just in your head you take out that word what, and then you see why there's a problem with the statement. So,
right.
And I'm just trying to get everybody used to that because I've had a number of people, the whole reason I've been drawing this line in the sand with the what if questions, because on a number of occasions I've had people send in super chats, ask, John, what if this? And I've answered it only to get an email from them later saying, that's not what I was asking. And it's like, well, then ask me the question so I know what it is you're asking, So, yeah, it's fine to start off a question with what if. Just make sure when you get to the end of it, you actually add a question. That's all I'm saying. It makes sense. Just help me out with that, guys. All right. And Import Taste just sends in another super chat. Thanks, Import Taste. Dark Sith writes, with the footage you have seen so far, which movie, Lion King or Endgame, makes more money overall when the year is over? Look, I've said this the whole time, and I will say it again. I am not going to be surprised if Lion King actually ends up being the number one box office movie of the year. I'm not going to be surprised. But if I had to put $5 on it, I would still put my money on Endgame.
Me too.
I would put my money on Endgame, but I'm just saying a lot of people are sleeping on Lion King because when you feel the energy in the room when Lion King comes up, there was more investment. Let's say that. There was more investment in that than anything else they showed. That includes Toy Story, that includes Endgame. Now, that doesn't mean everybody feels that way.
Well, I would also say, there's something else. Like when I was pointing out about Captain Marvel and the female audience, there's a lot, as much as successful as the MCU is, there's a lot of people, like my mom, who isn't interested in the MCU. My mom is interested in Lion King because she's a crazy cat lady. Yeah. But there's a lot of people in the movie-going audience that have no interest in superheroes. But their kids, they grew up showing their kids Lion King. They love Lion King. There's a family audience. There's people that just, superheroes aren't even on their radar. But Lion King is on their radar. And
everybody's radar.
And it's on everybody's radar. I mean, there's nobody who doesn't love Lion King. I mean, look at me. I saw that clip today like you. I'm like, I was this side of being a blubbering mess.
I was so close to being a blubbering mess. I was so close. But somebody once wrote in, but this is pretty indicative of then a lot of emails I've gotten that are similar. I remember this, when the day that trailer dropped, somebody sent in a message and they said, John, I can never get my family to come to the movies with me. I can never get my family to come to the movies with me. My brothers, my sister, their kids, my parents, nobody can go to the movies with me. The Lion King trailer dropped, and they're all saying, we should plan a family day at the movies. Because what I was saying that, whereas Endgame, which again, if I had to bet $5, I'm going to bet Endgame's going to be the number one thing. But Endgame is going to get the hardcore Marvel fans and your average moviegoers are going to be excited about Endgame. Lion King, though, on the other hand, is going to get your hardcore Lion King, grew up nostalgia family. They're going to attract the casual movie fans. And what we're seeing is they're going to get people who don't go to the movies are going to go to the movies to watch Lion King.
Grandma and Grandpa, they're going to want to go.
Or even, Billy and Gus who work at the steel mill, but they grew up watching Lion King.
Right.
They never go see the stupid movies, but they're going to go see that. And that's why I say I'm not predicting that Lion King will make more money than Endgame. I'm just saying don't sleep on it. This could be bigger than we think. And it's not going to be one of those movies that has to have a massive opening weekend. I don't expect at all that Lion King's opening weekend is going to come anywhere close to Endgame's opening weekend.
No, but it's going to be huge.
It's still going to be huge. But it's not like Endgame where with the MCU, when the MCU's coming out, I don't think, I'll go see it in a couple of weeks. Yeah. No, we all just want to go see it the first weekend. That's what it is.
Yeah, because we don't, the mystery, like how is humanity, how is the universe going to be unsnapped? Yep. How's the snapping going to be reversed? The decimation reversed? How do we reverse that? But Lion King's going to play forever.
Yeah, because families don't need to rush out to see it opening weekend. There's no spoilers in it. There's no whatever. It's going to have very healthy legs. As long as it's good. Look, a lot of this is predicated on the assumption that the movie's going to be good. Because if it's not, then this whole conversation goes out the window. Good. I think it's going to be good, too. Because what we saw looked pretty damn sweet.
It's not just going to be good. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
I mean, Lion King's Lion King. If you don't like Lion King, this discussion's moot.
You're dead inside.
But you're a destroyer of joy. But this is going to be a great movie.
All right, Dark Sith follows up with, anything from Lucasfilm, or are they saving it for Celebration about a week? You absolutely nailed it. They saved it for, which is what we speculated. going into it, we said, look, Celebration's coming next week. They're not going to show us it. I at least thought, what I did think though, Rob, was, I might have mentioned this over lunch, I thought Kathleen Kennedy, because they brought out the heads of 20th Century Fox, they brought out the head of Disney Productions, but Kevin Feige wasn't there.
Nope.
But I kind of thought maybe...
He's in India.
Yeah, that's right. I kind of thought that Kathleen Kennedy would come out and just talk about Mandalorian. Well, I guess not to the movie theater.
Yeah,
but talk about Star Wars Episode 9, the conclusion of this thing, JJ's back, blah, blah. Nothing. The only time Star Wars got mentioned, besides being on part of their overall graphic scheme, was this movie's turned out insane, but, I mean, it's coming from them.
Right.
And we cannot wait to show you some stuff, but we can't show you anything today. So, no, they're saving.
And she got that right off the top. Yeah, that was right off the top.
because they knew we were all thinking about it. It would have
Yeah.
been pretty... That was smart of her, because if she had waited till 40 minutes into it and go, oh, and by the way, guys, we have nothing from Star Wars to show you, we would have been pissed. Because they know we were all sitting there wanting to see some Star Wars stuff. But anyway, yeah, there's that. So it looks like they're going to save it. And again, rightfully so, for the folks who are going to Star Wars Celebration. All right, let's move on here. Helsing7747 writes, a lot of women will show up for Captain Marvel. The box office opening weekend will be over $150 million domestically, and the movie will make $1 billion worldwide. Never doubt. Robert Damas.
Robstradamus.
Rob Stradamus.
I like that.
Yep.
Robstradamus. You know, I can't get it right all the time. I just had a feeling about this one.
You had a very accurate feeling about this one.
I've been wrong, though.
Sure.
I thought Pacific Rim... I allowed I thought Pacific Rim was going to be huge. And
Second one or the first one?
The first one. I was because I'd seen it like 4 months in advance. I went this.
I love that movie.
I loved it so much, but apparently not anybody else. People just don't have their inner kaiju. What can
Nobody
you do?
understands the inner kaiju love.
The inner kaiju is not there for people. I don't know.
Let's see. Lee Brockway writes, a tad unrelated, but are you going to Celebration? No. I had made the decision I'm not going to get into all the drama. I made the decision like 6 months ago. I just got really turned off for a while over the Star Wars, or at least segments of the Star Wars fan community that turned the Star Wars fan community from a place of joy and fun. Even when there were movies in Star Wars that I don't like the prequels and ever, it was still a great place of fun and joy for everybody.
Yeah.
Until certain segments of it decided to turn Star Wars fandom into a toxic, awful, ugly place to be. And it just turned me off. And I decided at that point that I wasn't going to go. We even got offered, if I'm remembering, we got offered Lucasfilm VIP passes.
Yes, we did.
To go. And I was just like, nah. And I hope everybody has a blast. I hope everybody has a great time. But I just knew for me, I'm still kind of look, and I get it. It's movies, it's fandom. You don't understand how much love I have for Star Wars, and how much love I have for the movie fan community, and how much love I have for the Star Wars fan community. And that whole rearing of the ugly head, that peeling back the layers and seeing the rot underneath the surface that some people brought, was, I don't like using the word upsetting, but it was really upsetting. It was really upsetting, and it kind of just turned me off. And I just like I said, I decided 6 months ago not to go, but that I never tried to deter anybody else from wanting to go.
No.
I had a blast at Star Wars Celebration Orlando. I had a blast there. So I think all of you guys who are going are going to have a great time. It's just that I kind of got turned off. Hopefully by the time the next celebration comes around, I'll be emotionally back on my feet and ready to engage Star Wars fandom again.
When The Mandalorian comes out and everyone loves it.
Yeah, I hope so. Okay. Let's move on. Apex Caliber writes, Captain Marvel will fight Thanos and he'll humble her, it seems. Dude, if nothing else, I think that scene we shot today kind of speaks to that. Because they ain't going to fight Thanos in the first 2 minutes and coming back with a big victory.
Yeah, I know.
I think you're absolutely right, Apex. I think we're going to see, because we're seeing Captain Marvel very much display a early Thor attitude.
Yes.
There was even this one line in the scene where they go, look, we fought Thanos before and we lost. And she says, yeah, but that's because you didn't have me. And it's like, that's something Thor would have said a couple of movies. Thor would have said that exact same thing, and he got humbled. And I kind of think they're going to have, Captain Marvel's going to have that moment.
I think so,
and
too.
it'll be a good character developing moment for her, I think.
I think she's going to get a beat down.
I agree. I think she's going to get a beat down, but we'll see what happens. All right, let's see. Apex or Alex Pollock writes, have you seen the Jets' new uniforms? I hate them. I have not. I have rarely been happy with teams' new uniforms ever, but I haven't seen them yet, but now I'm going to have to go look it up. Thanks, Alex. Apex Caliber writes again, for Endgame tickets, 3 regular, 1 IMAX yesterday in the local theater. I'm telling you, people are excited. People are buying not just tickets, they're buying multiple tickets, which
I
we
love
expected.
that it's an event. It's so much fun.
Yeah. Again, I just hope for everybody who's buying all the multiple tickets that the film doesn't suck.
I'll tell you, you know what? From the scene we saw today, just watching the character
Looks so
interplay.
good, yeah.
You know, I mean, I love when Rhodey was like, where were you? Where have you been?
Yeah. Hey, new girl, he calls her.
Yeah, hey, new
yo,
girl.
new girl, where were you?
Yeah, it was great.
And
there were other planets that need help, and they don't have you.
And none of them had you, unfortunately.
It's so
it was a
good.
great line. It was a really great line. Okay. Let's move on here. Sean O'Keefe sends in a super chat. Thank you, Sean. Zeke Said So says, hope you guys are having a great time at Cinemacon. We really are. I really want to see more footage from The Lion King. Dude, I cannot wait. I'm sure they're going to drop what we saw to you guys soon. And I can't wait for you to see, because you'll then get what it is I'm blibbering about. It's just,
it's good stuff.
Again, just the sense in the theater when the screen went dark, like the clip's over, and just everybody's
well, it's really a strange thing too, because not to belabor this point, but The Lion King was 2D animation, cell animation. Yeah. Now you're looking at something, we've talked about it, if they say live action, look, it's photorealistic animation. And it's talking animals, and it's a whole different level. It's Lion King moved into a different realm, and this realm is so delicious, for lack of a better word. It's so, you're just entranced by it. It really is magical.
Yeah, I can't wait for you guys to see it.
Seriously. They talk about the Disney magic. It's here.
It's in full effect.
Tinkerbell is just, she should just fly through every scene with her little wand.
Angry Irish Benjamin writes in and says, some cinemas here in Ireland are playing Infinity War and Endgame as a double feature. It's going to be pretty damn awesome, and I'm going to be one of them. Yeah, we talked about that. They're doing some double features here too. I just got to say, I wasn't I didn't have any incentive to go and see a double feature for 2 reasons. One, I've just seen Infinity War about a week ago.
Right.
I've seen it 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 times. I have it on all my devices because I bought it on, Google Play. So I can watch it right as soon as we're done this show. I can pop up and watch it right now. I'm already going to be sitting in that theater for 3.5 hours just for Endgame. I honestly don't want to sit in the theater any longer than that for a movie that I just watched and I can watch as soon as I go home. But I understand the event feel of it and why people love going to that stuff. And I think it's great when they hold those things. It's just not appealing to me right now for this specific set of movies. But I'll be there for Endgame with Belgium. Yeah. Did you get the double feature one?
I feel the same way as you. I've seen it so much. But I want the Endgame experience to be its own thing. If this is this might seem strange, but I don't want to watch Infinity War then Endgame right after because I'm waiting a year. Yeah. I want the Endgame experience to be. I want to have a pure virgin Endgame experience. I don't want to go to second base with Infinity War and then go all the way home with Endgame. Well, I just want Endgame to be an event unto itself.
Because here's the thing. You've been to second base with Infinity War 40 times.
Yeah, that's right.
And I feel like if I went into the theater, all I'd be doing in the theater is looking at my watch, waiting for Infinity War over to get to Endgame.
Yes.
Get to Endgame.
That's what But
that's not how everybody else would feel. It's going to be a great event for a lot of people, and I hope you guys have a blast.
Yeah, I think people should go and have a good time. But for me, I'm waiting.
Yeah. Yep, I cannot wait. All right, Roy L. writes, I agree. Rob, I agree. The Winter Soldier is the best. So what he's talking about is that our podcast, the best movie, worst movie that we do with Cody Miller, in our best and worst of the MCU, Rob selected Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier, I thought, was
as the best one.
Best movie.
Cody selected one I didn't expect. He selected Guardians of the Galaxy 1.
Mm-hmm.
I selected the first Avengers. A lot of fun. It was a really good one. Go check out our podcast, best movie, worst movie, on your podcast app of choice.
And we should say we skipped this week But next week, we could drop new episodes.
We're going to drop new episodes starting this coming week. It's just that we were in Cinemacon, so we couldn't record a new one. Okay, let's move on here. Tara Wise writes, news on Doctor Strange 2, nothing. No news on that yet.
Zero.
Very little talk on, which is also what we expected. Very little talk on the MCU because both Comic-Con and D23 are coming. We expected the news to be there, so nothing new from that today. Roy L. writes, John, D-Box sucks. 4DX is way better. I've never done either D-Box or 4DX. Have you ever done 4DX?
Nope.
I've never had it, but I've heard good things about 4DX. I've just never... I think that's a Cinemark technology.
Yeah,
I think 4DX, it's either Regal or Cinemark, one of the two. But I do want to try it out because everybody's talking really good things about it. All right, K Major writes, how do you get invited to Cinemacon? Either be a theater owner or be a big enough presence in the media circles that you can get an invitation.
Press credentials.
Which you're wearing around your neck right now.
I am.
Show them what it says.
It says, Robert Burnett, I'm from the John Campea Show.
There we go.
I'm press.
So, yeah, once you get there, then you can get your invites and things like that. Let's see, move on here. Sean O'Keefe sends in a really big super chat. Thank you, Sean. Thanks for supporting the channel that way, man. So, John, I remember about 5 years ago, you said you had never had a Pop-Tart. Have you tried one yet? I did. I tried a Pop-Tart.
And? What flavor?
I can't even remember the flavor. I didn't like it. I thought it was...
Oh, man.
Yeah, I remember about... Well, you're right, Sean. It was about 5 years ago. Somebody brought up, John, what's your favorite Pop-Tart or something like that? It's like, I'll be honest with you guys. And I was with some other people. I said, I've never had a Pop-Tart. And everybody looked at me like I just said, I've never worn a shoe, right? It's like... Dude,
how can you not have had a Pop-Tart?
Yeah, I did. So about shortly after that, we were at the grocery store and I said, I'm just going to pick up some Pop-Tarts. So I'm going to try everything but talking about the Pop-Tarts. I'm going to try a Pop-Tart. And I took a bite of it and like, I didn't like it.
Dude, well, did you toast it?
Yes, I toasted.
Okay, toasted. That's good.
Or did I microwave it?
I like the apple, like the cinnamon ones when I was a kid.
I don't like fruit in any pastry.
Oh, okay. Well, it's not really fruit. It's some goodness, artificial goodness.
Maybe. But so no, I did finally try it, but I have not become one of the loyal customers of the Pop-Tart brand.
Sure.
So I just eat a lot of Doritos. All right. Altan writes, will we see Quicksilver back in the MCU? It depends on what is the nature of the conclusion of Endgame. Is it just undoing the snap? If that's the case, no Quicksilver. Is it fundamentally reorganizing the nature of reality? Then maybe Quicksilver.
Right, maybe. But then again, Quicksilver was the only MCU death that
stuck.
It stuck.
The only MCU hero death that stuck. And they really solidified their, dead's never dead kind of thing, like fake death universe if they brought him back. But, I mean, it's possible. It's possible. All right. LCid0685 writes, what about Gambit? Any news? No news at this point. Look,
zero.
The last news, we talked about it on the show last week. Simon Kinberg said he suspects that it'll still happen. But, he's not the one to make the decision.
Well, right. I think you guys should understand something, though, about Cinemacon. These are all about movies that are coming out within the next year. This is for exhibitors and the National Association of Theater Owners. So they're not talking about movies they have in the development pipeline.
Well, they did talk about Deadpool. They did talk about Aliens.
I think they did because they were making overall comments about their franchises that have made money.
Because I think you would say to the theater owners, here's another big brand we have coming, Gambit. But
right.
I think they're going to take a very long time to evaluate where they're at with something like that.
I mean, the Alien franchise, it's been around for a long time. Deadpool is a $1.5 billion franchise with 2 films. Those are things that they mentioned, but they didn't say like the next Deadpool movie comes out in 2021.
No, because I don't think they know yet.
Yeah, they don't know. So it wasn't really, they weren't dropping future plans. It was more about what's coming out.
It was more about letting us see what they've got coming that they haven't showed anybody yet. And
that exhibitors are to get excited for.
But yeah, we haven't heard anything on that yet. And I don't expect we'll hear any Gambit news for a while. I think it's going to be a while. I don't know. Maybe when I watch, they'll announce something tomorrow at D23 or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see here. TF writes, Alien, yes, please, yes. I'll be honest with you. I said to you coming out of the theater, I said, I honestly thought it would be a while till they talked aliens, because why would you rush into something that's essentially a failing franchise right now?
Yeah, it's, but it is the 40th anniversary.
Yeah, and they seem to have a vision for it. So now they didn't say it's coming next year. They didn't say it's coming in 2021. We don't know when, but they just said they've got plans to continue the new chapters of these stories. So.
Well, the alien queen from Aliens is now a Disney princess.
It's a Disney princess.
She's Disney royalty.
Yeah, that'd be awesome if they.
You know
made
what
her
we did
Disney
not
princess.
talk about?
What's that?
Maleficent.
Oh, that's right.
We did not mention Maleficent.
They showed us a big extended stuff of Maleficent, actually.
And it actually looked pretty good.
Didn't look bad. I'm not a big fan of the first Maleficent, to be honest with you. I thought Angelina Jolie was fabulous in it, but the movie itself is not very good.
But this looks good. We forgot to
intriguing.
mention that. Yeah,
you're right. That is one we forgot. I knew we were forgetting something.
Yeah.
Okay. Matt Makowski writes, Thanos has an infinity gauntlet with 6 stones and a double-bladed sword. I know, as if this situation wasn't dire enough. Now he's got this huge badass the size of a bus, like double-edged. Like he watched The Phantom Menace and say, hey, that Darth Maul dude's got a good idea.
Absolutely.
Let me get one of them double-bladed things. And yeah, as if things weren't bad enough. So now I got to watch that TV spot.
Yeah, well, it's not much. You just hear Thanos' voiceover.
This is going to be fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I got a feeling that's going to come in that first.
Yeah.
That first part. Who knows? We'll find out. So where was Tony? Let's see.
Where was Tony?
Roy L writes, third option, Tony is dead.
Well, that is. You know what I said early on your show? I said that Tony's going to die.
You said he's going to die in that ship.
He's going to die in the ship. And Nebula doesn't need, because she's not fully human, she can survive because of her implants. Tony Stark, Nebula can't create oxygen.
Yeah, but we see him back on Earth. Like in several shots.
I understand, but when do we see him on Earth?
We see him hugging Pepper. We see him with Cap. We see him flying through
all
the sky.
Of that, I'm sure that
we see him confronting Thanos. We see him. I mean, what about this? What if that shot of him floating in space is not from the beginning of the film? What if this movie starts at him and Nebula just fly back to Earth, and then it's later in the movie that he gets stranded in space in the Benatar?
I think that Tony Stark is going to die, and that he's going to come back later somehow.
But you think he's going to die even before the action of the movie begins?
I don't know. I have this feeling that it seemed pretty final.
So you think all that stuff was misdirect? You think all those scenes we saw with Tony were misdirects? All of it?
No, because I think this movie has time travel and through the quantum realm, and I think that our Tony Stark, let's call him Tony Stark Prime.
Oh God, I hate this stuff.
But he might die, and that's why he's not with the rest of the Avengers, because Nebula is the only one that survived.
All right, it's a possibility.
But I don't know.
It's not a possibility. You never know. All right, next one. Deadpool Chinese writes, I hate myself to listen to the Endgame stuff, but things you said actually raised more questions for me. I thought I couldn't be more excited. Wrong. I mean, that's the thing. Whenever we see a new trailer, I mean, that's why, because when the last trailer came out, I did a new because I did an Avengers Endgame speculation video 2 months ago. When the new trailer dropped, it fundamentally altered the landscape of speculations and theories.
Sure.
So I did a new video. And now that we've seen some more stuff, speculations and theories out the window, new speculations and theories raising up, I almost feel like we got to do another Endgame speculation video.
Well, I just want to throw something out there.
Sure.
So Kevin Feige said this is a lot like All Good Things, the last episode, Next Generation. Yes. They famously, in All Good Things, go back to the time when Tasha Yar hadn't died yet.
Yes.
And they play with that timeline.
They also made a Romulan granddaughter or daughter out of her.
But that was different. That's a whole nother. But but in All Good Things, you see this character Tasha Yar. They bring her back, who died. So I think in the beginning of this movie, here's my theory. After seeing what we saw today, the fact that Tony Stark was not with the Avengers, why? Even if Pepper was pregnant,
there could be 1,000 explanations for that, though.
He's dead. He dies in that ship. They find Nebula, they bring her back, and we don't see Tony Stark until later somehow. There's some kind of time travel, something is involved, but I think Tony Stark dies.
But the Tony Stark we see later is an older Tony Stark.
I don't know, man.
All right.
It's the quantum realm.
But you're right, Deadpool. Every time we see one of these things, It raises new questions. It shakes some old theories that we thought maybe were for sure going to happen. It's this fun game.
I mean, if they were planning to go get Thanos and they're having a meeting about it, why wasn't Tony Stark there? What could have kept him away from that?
Well, very simply that he and Nebula weren't together.
Well, that could be too.
I mean, and there's probably 15 other explanations that we haven't thought about yet.
That's true. That is true.
But the one you're proposing is one of the potential options. I just don't think they're going to go that way, but we've been surprised before, haven't we? Okay, we got to move on here. Ian Nguyen-Du writes, I say they go to Thanos first, lose, then Thanos goes to them after they come back. That is something that kind of went through my head a little bit.
Yep.
Because them first going to Thanos, Tony wasn't there. And we see in a trailer that Tony is with them when they're fighting Thanos. But I also believe that's from the first part of the movie too. So I don't know if they go there and then Tony shows up and they're like, Tony, you're alive! And he shows up and they all fight, get their asses kicked, or win, but can't undo the snap. They go home all sad and depressed, boo-hoo. And
I don't know.
So much stuff we still don't know. Man. But I agree in principle. I think this fight with Thanos is very early in the film.
It's the 3rd of April, right?
It is the 3rd of April, yes.
20 days.
20 days, or 21 days, 22 days, whatever. We're getting there. Okay, next up. Matt Makowski writes, it's not a spoiler, people. Look at their trailer released on Monday. I don't know what we're talking about, but if it was something that was in the trailer released on Monday, then it's definitely not a spoiler. Thank you for clarifying that, Matt. Appreciate that. All right. Kella EQ2 writes, after looking at the Disney slate this year, do you think there's a chance that Disney, with Sony's help, have the top 5 movies at the box office this year? I will tell you what. When you're talking about, first of all, let's just look at the top 3. All right. In whatever order. Star Wars Episode 9, Avengers Endgame, Lion King. There's your top 3 right there. Now, on top of all that, you have Frozen 2, which, make no mistake about it, is going to be huge. All right?
And that could be number 4.
That could be your number 4. Then you got movies like Aladdin, which I'm not getting a sense one way or the other how big this movie will be.
I as much as I like what we saw today, I don't know.
Because if you were to come to me, if Tony Stark were to come to us from the future right now and say, when you've got a minute, come rescue me off this ship because I'm about to die. But by the way, Aladdin makes 1.5 billion, I wouldn't be surprised. If he said Aladdin makes 600 million, I wouldn't be surprised. Like I don't have any compass right now on how I think Aladdin's going to do. It's going to do, by most film standards, well. Will it be a $1 billion film? I don't know. Would it be a 1.5? I wouldn't be surprised. Does it make 500 million? Wouldn't be shocked. I have no gauge on this movie whatsoever. So I don't know if you guys have some predictions on that. Jump down in the comments. But yeah, so then you got that. And then you got a host of other films. I mean, you got Spider-Man Far From Home. That could be a $1 billion film. Captain Marvel could end up being in the... it's $1 billion already.
I know.
So you're talking about
and
5...
that's a movie from 2019.
Yeah, you're talking about 5 potential movies from one studio in minimum the $1 billion club.
That's unprecedented.
I mean, could Hobbs and Shaw make like a 1.2? Maybe. I don't know. I mean, it is The Rock, but he's separated from the rest of the Fast and Furious crew, so who knows?
It's crazy to think, but don't forget, we already have a $1 billion grossing Disney movie.
Yeah, Captain Marvel.
And that's amazing.
And there's probably 4 more to come. So
yeah.
It is great. Yes, Kella, it is very feasible that the top 5 movies at the box office this year will all be Disney films in one form or another.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Let's see how this all kind of evolves. All right. Writer Girl writes, hi, long time, first time. Thank you so much, Writer Girl. I'm curious about where Bill Foster is in Endgame. Maybe he's the one who makes the quantum suits. Thoughts? Is that Skarsgård?
Yeah.
I don't know. He's been oddly missing. I remember I was flipping through the channels and the first Endgame was on, or first Avengers was on. And there he was. I'm like, oh, you totally forgot about him. I don't know if they just kind of swept his character away with Jane. I have a feeling they just kind of
Right.
Everybody look over there. And swept, because I don't think they want to do the Jane thing again.
No.
And
Plus, people move on in their lives.
yeah.
Your friends come and go.
How do you have Bill there, who figured out the Einstein Bridge, or whatever that it was called? How do you have him there and not, at the minimum, reference Jane? They just kind of quietly ignore it. Hey, remember that deep, passionate love Thor and Jane had at the end of Thor 2: The Dark World? They just gone. Just gone. Nobody talk about it.
It happens.
It happens. So it's a very good thought, but I don't think he makes the quantum suits. I don't think he's involved, because I just think if they bring him in, then they've got to address Jane. And I don't think they want to address Jane. So I honestly just think he's gone.
Yeah.
He dusted. There we go.
Right. There
He
you go.
dusted.
He's gone.
He's dusted.
He was in the snapping.
All right. Good question, though, writer girl. Because, hey, you forget about the guy. All right. L. Carton writes, thank you for putting Good Boys on my radar. Guys, watch Good Boys. This looks like it's going to be hilarious.
It's going to be great.
That, of course, came from the Universal presentation earlier today. Looked fantastic. Cannot wait for that thing. Mad Real Cinema writes, wasn't Ant-Man part of that scene? If not, then him and Tony might be cooking something up on the side. Yeah, that's the other thing. Ant-Man was...
That could be.
But that is part of... You got to remember, that's part of my theory, right? Okay, so here's what I think, and this will probably evolve as we see more footage and it changes. But my theory has been, the one I've been holding on to for the last couple of weeks has been, there's a big battle with Thanos near the beginning. They either win or lose, but even if they win, they don't get the results they were hoping for. They can't undo the snap. Now they're all boo-hoo. Now everything is truly lost and it's truly hopeless. They go home. Then they jump ahead a year or so, and then Scott emerges from the quantum realm.
Right, that's what I think.
And so, he wasn't in that scene, but I wasn't expecting him to be in that scene.
No, I wasn't either, but I think that says a lot. Scott Lang is not out of the quantum realm at the beginning of this movie.
Yep, so he's going to be their second wind. He's going to be their second lease on life, the second hope. The last, when all hope seemed lost, Scott comes out and gives them hope. Maybe.
Right.
Maybe. Who knows? We'll find out. Okay, let's see here.
Remember, because they don't really know about the quantum realm.
Not really.
They don't really know.
No. I mean, Hank knew about it. Scott obviously knows about it. Morpheus, Lawrence Fishburne, his character, because he was lecturing on it when we met him in Ant-Man 2, but they've never talked about quantum realm stuff.
No, they don't know.
And none of them are the brilliant scientists.
Nope.
So, because
it's also just not their area of expertise.
Yes. Yeah.
So.
All right, let's move on here. Kella EQ2 writes, did Disney play the Fox fanfare during the presentation? Good question. No.
They didn't, and I was kind of sad about that. But they did show the logo. They did show the film clips.
They brought out the head of the company. And
so 20th Century Fox's logo was all over the place. They just didn't have a reason to show it with the fanfare, really.
Right. So, no, they did not. Let's see. Candy Van Man writes, will Captain Marvel get incapacitated in the first fight? It seems that she will only be in the first 30 minutes. Oh, I don't think she's only going to be in the first 30 minutes.
No, we've only seen footage from the first 30 minutes.
Yeah, I think she is going to play... Look, Kevin Feige's already said she's kind of going to be the head figure of the MCU moving forward. So she's not only in the first 30 minutes, but as we kind of mentioned a bit earlier, I think she's going to take a little bit of a beating, probably the first beating she's taken before really coming into her power.
Yep.
And that will evolve things a little bit as they move forward. So, yeah, by the way, I still think Thor is the toughest guy on the block right now. I still think Thor's the toughest guy on the block because he took out Thanos in one shot.
By the way, what was really cool was the actual sound of Stormbreaker coming by and landing in his head.
You think it sounded good on your TV screen?
No. The sound design on that was great.
Heavy, vroom.
Yeah.
It just sounded powerful, you know?
Yeah, that was really great.
It was really, really great. Okay, Andrew Elsenheimer sends in a couple super chats. Thank you so much, Andrew. Mark C. writes, Carol Shelby and Frank Frazetta died on the same date. I know this because my birthday, May 10th. I had no idea. Like, was it the same... Okay, same date. They didn't die on the same day. They died on the same date.
Maybe
but different years. But different years. Very interesting. All I know, guys, is this movie, which I've been intrigued by because of all, like, you've got the director
And
involved.
I think
you've got the
Michael
stars
Mann
involved.
wanted to make it for the longest time.
Really?
Yeah. And
I wouldn't be surprised. It seems like his kind of thing.
Yeah, it looks so good.
I was floored. It was the first of... I've never seen a single clip from this movie before. I was like, yes. So much yes to this movie.
Yeah,
I want to see this so bad.
It looks so good.
Okay, Mad Real Cinema. All right. Also, Tony might have gone to see Peter's aunt to let her know. Would Tony skip out on a save the universe mission?
No, that's the thing. He would be leading this. The fact that he was not there was so glaring to me watching this. I was like, where's Tony? Which is
raises big questions.
They wanted you to think that. That's why they showed this scene because this scene brings up more questions than it answered. It doesn't answer anything. We know they're going to go after Thanos. That's obvious. It's the one thing. But this scene, by not having Tony in it, makes you go, wait, what?
I just like the way Captain said.
It's brilliant, by the way.
Let's go get that son of a bitch. It's like, Okay. Let's see here. Movie Idiot writes, do you think it's possible that Tony is recovering? Oh, actually, that is a great option.
Could be.
He's been beaten, stabbed, malnourished, ran out of water, hadn't had water in days, blah, blah. You know what? That's very much...
That could be.
Hadn't thought about that. That's a great theory, Movie Idiot. Very good theory. Andrew Elsenheimer writes, last time you went to a show with... Last time you went an entire show without a Marvel question. Oh, never. That's like saying to a sports show, last time you did an entire show where nobody asked a question about the NFL. Well, the NFL is the most dominant, popular, profitable sport in America.
Right.
Of course, in a show that has 20, 30, 40 live questions coming in, someone's going to ask about the NFL. It is the most dominant sport in the world, or at least in North America. It's the most dominant sport in America. The MCU is the biggest in the game right now. So, I mean, obviously, people are going to ask about it. And it would be odd if they didn't. It'd be odd if you went through... Like, it's not like... We only take 4 questions. We go through 30 or 40 questions. So, of course, a number of those. And especially when we've got an MCU movie in theaters right now. We've got the most highly anticipated movie of the year coming in just 3 weeks. I mean, of course there's going to be a lot of that. Absolutely there is. But last time I went through an entire show without a Marvel, you'd have to go back to when Marvel wasn't the most dominant brand in film.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to go back a couple years. But that makes perfect sense when you think about it. All right. Luis Maldonado writes, parallels, Thanos threats 2 siblings for stones. Guys, please don't hyphenate or short form things. Parallels, Thanos threats 2 siblings for Infinity Stones, Thor plus Nebula. In 2012, Cap leans over an alive Tony and says, we won. And in Infinity War, it's dead Vision and says, oh God. I'm just trying to string this all together.
Yeah.
Just the way it's written. Okay. So what I'm piecing together here, Luis, is you're saying, okay, so some similarities here. Thanos threatens Thor's brother. And Thanos threatened Gamora's sister.
Right, so Thor kills Loki, and
Thanos kills Loki,
and Thanos also kills Gamora.
Yeah, kills Gamora, and threatened to kill Nebula in an attempt to get the stone's location from Gamora.
That makes sense.
There's a parallel. And then Cap leans over an alive Tony at the end, says, we won. And in Infinity War, he's leaning over a dead Vision and saying, oh God. I guess that one's a little bit of a stretch. The first one, with the sibling threats to get what he wants and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that one's a good observation, man. All right, let's move on here. Jorge Luis writes, hey guys, loving these shows. Thank you, Jorge. We're having a good time here in Vegas, being at Cinemacon. Having a good time. Thank you guys for being here and talking along with us.
But we're the only guys who go to Vegas, and instead of like gambling or going to shows,
we're talking about
movies.
Movies. Ford versus Ferrari, Toy Story, Lion King... The Good Boys.
I don't know what that says about us.
Yeah. Other people would be having fun. We're having fun.
We're having fun, though.
Okay. Let's see. Ray Stone writes, Tony is probably recovering after all. He's a human that was stabbed, injured his left arm again, and was starving in space. Lion King will have legs. You know what, Ray? You just said my exact same thoughts.
Yep.
I think that's a good theory. I don't know that that's true, but that does fit But there are a number of theories that we could come up with that fit the circumstances. But that particular theory does fit these circumstances very well.
It does.
He could be laid up in a hospital. I mean, he should be dead. I know. His magic nanotech would just spray some spray foam in this massive gaping wound in my midsection, and I'm all fine. Magic nanotech. Anyway. Yeah, you're right. He could be in the hospital. I think that's a very valid possibility. Let's see. Michael Bradley writes, thanks for all the hard work. Over under 20%. Jessica Chastain's character on Dark Phoenix is a super Skrull. I'm thinking she's Shi'ar.
Yeah. She's from the Shi'ar Empire,
Now,
probably.
Could she be
Lilandra? Maybe. But see, the problem with that is if she is, then you have to... There's a whole pantheon of characters that you then have to explain and deal with.
You don't have to.
Well, I guess you don't, but...
But, I mean, so they could... And this is their last movie.
It's true.
So whether or not they knew this was going to be their last movie when they were making it, that's another question. So I'm going to say no.
Yeah, I'm going to say no, too.
I'm not going to say 0, but I think 20 is a bit high, so I'm going to take the under on 20%, Michael. Interesting theory, though. All right. Sam Mack writes, your description of the Lion King clip gave me chills. I will probably tear up during the Circle of Life sequence. Dude, I don't care. Man tears, dude. Man tears. I don't care who's with me. I don't care what people think of me. When that Circle of Life plays and certain scenes, oh God.
And all the animals.
When Mufasa dies. Oh, cry time. Cry time. There's going to be a lot of man tears. I'm telling you what, you're going to have big burly biker dudes like going, I'm not crying, you're crying. It's going to be something, dude. Wait till you see this stuff, man. It looked great. Okay. That was Sam Mack. Okay, so now we got to go up to Sam Mack. Now we go to Roy L., who writes, John, I might cry when Scar says to Mufasa, long live the king, before letting him go to die. And we don't know how they're going to play that scene out. They may do it a little bit differently, whatever, but knowing that it's going to be Chiwetel Ejiofor saying those lines.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's going to be sinister, whatever it is. Long live the king. Dude, there's going to be so much cry time in this movie. I got choked up, nearly crying, watching them just walking up a rock.
No, I know. It was incredible.
I mean... How am I going to handle the whole movie?
It was incredible.
How am I going to handle this whole movie? All right. You have to get out of here, don't you?
I do. I have to soon.
Okay.
We've been going for an hour and 45 minutes.
Yes, but I want to get through as many of these questions as I can. So, ladies and gentlemen, Robert Meyer Burnett, watch for us tomorrow as we sum up the Paramount presentation. Rob will be back and joining me then.
Yes.
And then we're going to run out of here and go see Shazam in the afternoon.
Yes, sir.
Since we're here. So I will talk to you later.
All right, I will see you later. Today was a fine day,
Today was a great day.
Everyone, goodbye. I bid you adieu.
He bids us adieu, everybody.
It'll be great fun.
Okay, so I'm going to...
I will see you later.
You will see me later, as a matter of fact. Okay, so we have to continue on now, and we will soldier on. Let me just make sure my thing's not going to fall down. There we go. We're good to go. Okay, so, la-di-da. Going to take a drink here quick, and then we will proceed. But yeah, seriously, dude, I nearly broke down and cried watching a couple of animated lions just casually walking up a rock. What is going to happen when Rafiki holds up a baby Simba and we see all it's going to be a mess, guys. It's going to be an absolute mess. Okay, let's move on here. Robert, oh dear, I forgot about this. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can fix this. I don't know if I can, but I'm going to try. And I don't know if I'm going to do any good at it. But again, I'm going to try. Does this work? This works. Great. Okay. So here we go. We continue on now with our stuff. And we're going to go to Robert Johnson, who writes, didn't Tony magically appear between Cap and Nebula in the Endgame trailer? Any chance they leave... Oh, you know what? I think Robert must have forgot something because I think he just knocked on my door. Hold on a second. Nothing big, nothing important. We're all good. We're all good. Everything's fine. We're fine here. How are you? Okay, didn't Tony magically appear between Cap and Nebula in the Endgame trailer? Any chance they leave once with Tony and once without Tony? I don't think he matched. I just think that was different shots. Now, I could be wrong about that, but my thought and my assumption going into that was it was just different shots. And it was just cut together that way. So I just thought it was different. So I don't think he magically appeared there. That's just the way I thought about it at any rate. Okay, let's see here. Roy L. writes, instead of Mufasa, it is Disney saying everything the light touches is... I see you saying, Disney is saying everything the light touches is our magic kingdom. It's true, man. They're kind of running the gambit right now. But I'll tell you what, being at something like Cinemacon and seeing the presentation from Warner Brothers, which was great. Seeing the presentation from Universal, a lot of films to get us excited. And really looking forward to seeing what Paramount shows us tomorrow. Disney ain't the only game in town. They're the biggest. But they're not the only game in town. Warner Brothers has some awesome stuff coming. Go see Shazam this weekend. Universal looks like it's got some awesome, fun stuff coming. Check out their slate. It's just, the state of the industry is pretty good right now. As far as the movies we have coming, lots of great original stuff, all different types of genres. It's looking really good. But yeah, everything the light touches is Disney's kingdom. Luke Blackwell writes, in the Joker movie, do you think we will see Bruce's parents die? And do you think the Joker kills them? I don't know. Look, honestly, what I don't want them to do with this Joker movie is make it a Batman light show. Don't make this movie, don't do what Gotham does. Don't make it Batman light. Leave the Batman stuff out of it. I know we're going to see Thomas Wayne. Could this movie have that definitive moment of Thomas and Martha Wayne getting shot? Why did you say that name? Could it show that? Maybe, I suppose. It would feel unnecessary, though. But I don't know. I haven't seen the movie yet. Maybe it makes sense. I'm going to guess no. It's just a guess, but for now I'm going to guess no. Mason Hawking writes, thank God for A-List. Mason, I've been saying, ever since it came out, A-List is the best thing to happen to movie fans ever. For movie fans and a movie fan community, A-List is the best thing that's ever happened to movie fans. It's remarkable. Alex Pollock writes, over under 80% that the next Deadpool opens with the Disney logo just to poke fun. No, if they're keeping it, well, I mean, look, it'll have the Marvel thing open, just like any character that comes from Marvel Comics has to open with the Marvel thing. It'll do that. Disney is the parent company of Fox, so I wouldn't be surprised if every Fox film opens with one of the company cards. The company card is, the production company that puts. I wouldn't be surprised at all if all of the Fox upcoming films has the Disney logo in front of it. So I'm going to take 80%. I'm going to take 80% on that. Benson Prince just sends in a super chat. So does Vin4. Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate that. Roman Bryant writes, unused footage of Don Rickles' work. Yeah, that's what they're saying that they're doing for Toy Story 4. That they went through all the Don Rickles material that they never used in Toy Story 1, 2, 3, the theme park stuff, the Ice Capade stuff, and they patched together his line. So when you hear Mr. Potato Head in Toy Story 4, it's actually the voice of Don Rickles used from recycled material that they never used before. Austin Wainscott writes, what Fox franchise do you think will continue under Disney? My hopes are for more Planet of the Apes and a proper Home Alone follow-up. I don't think Home Alone's going to happen again. But remember earlier in the show, I said to Robert, we saw Aliens is coming under Fox, Deadpool's coming under Fox, Avatar's coming under Fox. I said there was one more. Planet of the Apes was one of them. They're doing more Planet of the Apes. Disney plans to do more Planet of the Apes, and it will stay under the 20th Century Fox logo. So, yes. But as far as Home Alone, I don't think so. I think they're truly letting that one go. But I could be wrong. Jim Nelson writes, Indiana Jones 5 news? Nope. None. It's been all quiet on the Indiana Jones front for a while. I haven't heard anything new in a while, to be honest with you. I'm to the point that I'm not going to... Look, they say they're doing it. They're still saying it's happening. I'm just saying every day that goes by, I'm losing belief that this movie actually happens. It probably still will. I'm just saying each day that passes, I'm losing little bit belief that movie actually does happen. We'll see if that actually turns out. Let's see. Jeremy Workman writes, my wife and I love you to keep up the good work. Thanks so much, Jeremy. I really appreciate that. And say thank you to your wife as well. She must be a highly intelligent, beautiful woman to have that sort of thought. All right, that'd be great. Thanks, Jeremy. Ethan's Tech World writes, when you see Endgame in your head, you're going to hear, dude, you ready? Who is that I'm referring to? John Schnepp. He will be watching with you. Oh, look, I still remember I came out of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which was so good. And I remember I got on my social media, and the first thing I said on my social media was, because this is the first thought I had was, Schnepp would have loved this. He would have loved Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I mean, it was so him, you know? And yeah, it's going to be, I really wish you could have seen this. Or who knows, maybe the movie will be crap and he'll be, it'll be, oh man, this one would have broke his heart. I'm glad he doesn't get his heart broken. But, I mean, yeah, obviously I think it would have been, And it was when movies like this come out that we really think about it. It's when movies like this come out that we really think about it. So, anyway, thanks for bringing that up, Ethan. Samir Tesfaye writes, and by the way, you know who's really going to feel that? It's Robert, because Robert went to see Infinity War with John Schnepp. And so I'm sure Robert's really going to feel it when we go to see Endgame, because the last time he saw a premiere or an opening press screening for an Avengers movie, he was with Schnepp, so I'm sure he's going to think about that. Samir Tesfaye writes, thank you guys so much for this. 2019 Cinemacon sport analogy. Disney equals the Warriors. Warner Brothers equals LeBron's Cavaliers. Universal equals LeBron's Lakers. Hey, no, listen. Inasmuch as there are some ways we were underwhelmed with the Universal presentation, honestly, the film slate they lined up looked really good. Looked really strong. And I'm excited about it. They didn't put on the best presentation, but just the flat-out lineup of what they have coming looked great. I'm excited for a lot of their films. You know, Hobbs and Shaw, the Good Boys, several others that we talked about this morning as well. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. Okay, Abli writes, what are thoughts on Professor Hulk wielding the gauntlet after it is created by Tony Stark? I think the very little info on Hulk makes this likely. I think it's very unlikely. First of all, Tony has no concept of how the gauntlet works. That's alien technology far beyond him or anybody else. As a matter of fact, there was only one being in the galaxy who could create it, and that was Eitri, if I'm pronouncing his name right. The Peter Dinklage character. He was the only being in the universe who could do that. Tony Stark's just a human. He's smart for a human, but Tony's not even the smartest guy in the MCU. Shuri is. Shuri's the smartest person in the MCU, not Tony. Tony's like an electrical engineer. He would have no idea how to do that. So honestly, I think no. I think that is very, very unlikely. Now, we've seen stranger things happen, Ablay. We've seen stranger things happen. But honestly, I will be surprised if they do. I really don't see much chance that happens in this movie whatsoever. It seems very out of character for everything they've done in the MCU. I don't think they're going to do that. Trey Dunlap just sends in a super chat. Thank you, Trey. The Jinx writes, hey, John, love the show. Thank you so much. Wanted to throw a theory by you and see what you think. But I think that Disney will buy Spider-Man off of Sony within the next 5 years. What do you think? Nope. But look, in order to buy something from somebody has to want to sell it. Sony right now has no interest in selling Spider-Man. They have no interest in that. Because if they sell Spider-Man, then they lose the Venom character, they lose all this stuff, and they just had one of the biggest films they've ever done with Venom making over $800 million. So, and remember this too, Disney just spent $71 billion to buy Fox. They don't have a lot of expendable cash laying around at this point. They spent like almost 3/4 of the company's net worth to buy Fox. So what's Sony going to want for it? Sony ain't going to let Spider-Man go for $1 billion. They almost just made they made over $800 million just on Venom alone. So they're going to be looking in the neighborhood for maybe $3 billion, maybe $4 billion. And now if you're Marvel, is that worth it to get Spider-Man back? Look, we've got 500 other characters. Is it worth it to us to drop 3 or 4 billion on one? Well, I mean, with Spider-Man comes a bunch of other characters too, but is it really worth it to us to spend that kind of cash on Spider-Man? I don't know. And by the way, that's assuming that Sony ever wants to part with Spider-Man, and I don't think they do. And I think Marvel tried to get Spider-Man back from them, but Sony just kept saying no. So they finally made a deal. Okay, how about this? How about you let us use him? You keep using the other guys. You get to be the distributor of the Spider-Man movies and make all sorts of money. We at Marvel will be the producers of the movie and we'll make money and blah, blah, blah. I think the only reason that arrangement ever happened was because Marvel was not able to convince Sony to sell Spider-Man back to them. But here's the thing, though, Jenks. 5 years is a long time in the movie universe. For all we know, Warner Brothers could buy Disney. Comcast maybe buys Disney in the next 5 years. In the movie industry, 5 years is an eternity. So a lot of weird things can happen in 5 years. So I'm not going to say it's impossible, but all the circumstances we have right now make it look very unlikely. Make it look very, very unlikely. But who knows? John Mai sends in a super chat. Thank you, John. Terrell Wise writes, will Endgame surpass The Force Awakens? I think so. It's funny because a lot of people assume that Infinity War made more money than The Force Awakens. It didn't. The Force Awakens is actually still ahead of Infinity War. I think it will. Do I think it'll make $2.5 billion? No, I don't think it'll get that high. But I do think it'll pass Infinity War, and I do think it'll pass The Force Awakens, which is now a few years old. So yeah, I do think that'll happen. Okay, Vin4 writes, perhaps Misdirect is Tony and Cap shake hands, and Cap is from Avengers 1, and Tony went back in time to tell Cap of the future when he is asked, do you trust me? But again, then what's the point of the... What are they misdirecting? The handshake means nothing. It's just an aesthetic shot. It's not misdirecting anything. That's the point here, is that I don't know why we're still talking about the handshake. It's meaningless. Whether it is Cap or not, it's meaningless. Why are we talking about it? It's completely pointless. It carries no importance whatsoever. Even if it's not Cap and Tony shaking hands, it still has no relevance. It doesn't matter, and it's not actually misdirecting anything. Misdirects only is to misdirect you from something important that the audience can't know. What is showing a couple of handshaking doing? Nothing. So I don't even know why we're worried thinking about it, Vin, to be honest with you. John Mai writes, hey, John, I was wondering how to get into Cinemacon. You have to be in the movie theater industry, and your movie theater have to bring you along, and or you have to be invited press. So that's it. It's not for fans. Cinemacon isn't like Comic-Con. It's not for fans. It's an inner industry thing. It's for people in the industry and some press. But it's not for a fan thing that you can just buy a ticket to and come to. Mista 40, but if it was, I would tell everybody to come for sure. Mista 47 writes, Captain Marvel finally. Yes, there will be some people who would like you to believe that Captain Marvel needed $1 billion. That is funny, Mista. Captain Marvel finally broke even, because remember there was that whole BS going around that people trying to propagate this myth. Oh, Captain Marvel needs $750 million to break even. No, it didn't. It absolutely did not. 100% it did not. It needed like $450 million to break even, maybe $5 million. But at any rate, yeah, just join the Brillion people, because Brie Larson, Brillion Dollar Club is what they're calling it. Jared McBride writes, if our world was coming to an end, what one movie would you want to see? Lion King, Avengers Endgame, or Star Wars Episode 9, or Toy Story? If it was today, honestly, probably Lion King. Not yesterday, and maybe not tomorrow. But today, it would probably be Lion King, just because I'm so overwhelmed by what I saw. Again, once I sleep on it, I'll probably change my mind on that, but for now, that's where I'm at. Haskell 420 writes, hey guys, with the entire 19 Disney slate Endgame, Lion King, Episode 9, Maleficent 2, etc., could they shatter the record for studio earnings? Oh, no doubt. No doubt. I have absolutely zero doubt in my mind that Disney will break the all-time record again this year with box office. They could have $5 billion films this year. Guaranteed 3. Endgame, Star Wars Episode 9, Lion King, guaranteed 3. Sorry, that means guaranteed 4 because Captain Marvel just crossed the $1 billion mark. Now it's just all about whether they get one of the fifth ones to do it, and they very well could. You're talking about a studio that could have $5 billion films in 1 year. Yeah, absolutely, Haskell. They will break the record this year. Valhalla Erickson writes, could we see a Masters of Evil arc next? I don't think so, but it's certainly something that's possible, and it's something in their wheelhouse. But I don't see them going that direction right now. But I don't feel confident in that either. I don't feel confident that they won't. But if I had to guess, I just loosely guess that I don't think they will. Nicholas Hernandez writes, any reference to Avengers adopting Captain Marvel's call sign? Well, remember, the Avengers never knew. So, no, there was no reference in any of the presentations or anything that they showed us today about that. You're talking about the Nick Fury thing at the end of Captain Marvel. No reference to that in the presentations that we saw, Nicholas. Joseph Sarks writes, MCU best Infinity War, worst Iron Man 3. Oh, okay. So, obviously, I love Infinity War. It's not in my top 3 MCU movies. And I would personally put Iron Man 2 as a lot worse than Iron Man 3. But anyway, that's just me. But your best Infinity War, worst Iron Man 3. There you go. Michael Manning writes, could there be any major plot twist theories for Endgame we haven't thought of yet? Maybe things or moments they put in other movies that will be explained in Endgame, all the best. I don't think we're going to see a lot of hanging threads from other movies, Michael, coming into play here. There's already so much they have to cover. That's the thing about Endgame. There is so much ground they have to cover here that I don't see them also squeezing in a bunch of dangling plot threads from like 7 or 8 other movies. I don't see them doing that. Now, as far as could there be any other major plot twists that we're not thinking of, well, of course, we're just not thinking of them. So absolutely. Look, this is going to be a 3-hour movie, right? So I think 99% of the theories that we have are going to prove to be wrong. And then there's going to be a bunch of things that happen that we never even thought of. And that's one of the reasons they're doing a lot of these surprises, Michael. That's one of the great things about this being a big event film, and one of the things that makes us all kind of drooling at the mouth, Mike, to go and see this damn thing. So absolutely, that's a possibility. Absolutely, this is a possibility. Nimrod DJ writes, think they will re-release Infinity War IMAX ratio for 4K Blu-ray? Such a missed opportunity since was shot 100% IMAX. Aquaman IMAX ratio 4K equals thumbs up. Look, reality is nobody buys physical media anymore. Blu-ray discs have dropped in sales 30% in just 2 years. That's almost 1/3 of Blu-ray disc sales dropped in just 2 years. More than that have dropped in Blu-ray player sales. No one's buying physical media anymore. There's just not a lot of money for them to be made there. Because you got to spend money on marketing, you got to spend money on manufacturing it, you got to spend money on packaging it, you got to spend money on shipping it, and it's just not the consumer base just isn't there. So it's possible. It's possible. I would go so far as to say, Nimrod, that I wouldn't even be surprised if they do. But am I expecting it? I'm not expecting it, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do it. Again, it's just the fact of the matter is they don't sell. That's not an opinion. It's just a fact. I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's bad, but they just don't sell. Sean O'Keefe writes, I see David Harbour and Rachel Weisz have signed on to Black Widow movie. Yeah, I haven't even read that. I have been in these presentations all day and doing shows all day. Somebody mentioned that earlier today. I need to go and read the story for it. If so, I mean, having an Oscar caliber actress like Rachel Weisz in your movie is great. I have been in love with that lady for a long time. Her joining us. She was just nominated this Academy Awards. It's going to be pretty cool to see. Jared Murray writes, and guys, I'm just going to fly through the last. Please don't send any more super chat questions because I got to get to work. I got things I got to work on for tomorrow. So I'm just going to try to fly through the remaining ones yet left. So please don't send any more at this point. Jared Murray writes, Bill Foster is Fishburne. Oh, that's Fishburne, not Skarsgård. Oh, okay. I had that reversed. Okay, that makes more sense, Jared. That makes more sense. Yeah, I can't remember what Skarsgård's character's name was. I just assumed that was Skarsgård. Anyway, I don't know if Fishburne dusted or not. Yeah, but him helping to build quantum realm suits because he was actually lecturing on quantum realm, that makes sense. I don't know if he's dusted, though. And I don't think there's been any mention of him being in this movie. I don't think there was any mention of Lawrence Fishburne being in this movie, so that probably throws that out the window. Nicholas Glenn writes, Rob, John, Rambo 1 or 2, favorite and why? First Blood. It's a different kind of movie. Rambo became a different franchise after 1. I think the first one's a highly underrated film. I'm going to go with the first one, far more dramatic. Let's see here. Okay, Writer Girl writes, the same thing that somebody else wrote. Bill Foster is Lawrence Fishburne from Ant-Man and the Wasp, not Skarsgård. Yep, we just addressed that. Sorry about that. I got that mixed up there for a second. Thanks for the correction, though. Mr. 47 writes, I'm with Rob. I think Kang will be the next baddie. Well, no. Rob doesn't think Kang will be the next baddie. Rob thinks Kang is going to be in Endgame. He thinks Kang the Conqueror is going to be in Endgame. Kang could very well be one of the next big baddies, sure, but I don't think he's going to be in Endgame, or at least not be a significant character in it. Rob thinks he's the bad guy in Endgame, and it's going to be wild if he's right. I don't think he is, but maybe that's the case. But that's what Rob thinks. Swedish Eskimo writes, I wonder if James Mangold will do 20,000 Leagues for Disney after Ford v Ferrari. Crossing my fingers for a D23 announcement. I don't know what he's going to do next. I mean, obviously, I wanted to see him do another Logan movie. I wanted Hugh Jackman to come out of retirement and him, for those two guys, to do another Logan movie. But that's possible. They've been trying to get another 20,000 Leagues together for a while. James Mangold, great director. I'm sure he would do a knock out of the park job with it. And I'm sure we're going to find out a hell of a lot at both Comic-Con and D23. I think more at D23 than anything else. Solomon Hall sends in a super chat. Thank you, Solomon. Phoenix Horizon writes, breaking news, John. Alan Horn just announced that Alan Horn himself will be playing Deadpool in the next Deadpool movie. Alan Horn. Again, it was pretty exciting to hear Alan Horn pretty much confirm that more Deadpool movies are coming. Not that they could do them. They are coming, and pretty much confirming it's going to be Ryan Reynolds doing it, and them confirming it's going to be a 20th Century Fox film, not a Marvel film. Interesting to see all that. I thought that was really cool. Chris Lopez writes, Gladiator 4K or Braveheart Core 4K, not seen Gladiator. I don't know what it is you're asking. I really don't care about 4K all that much, to be brutally honest with you. I have a 4K TV. I honestly don't notice that big of a difference on it because I don't sit close enough to my TV for the human eye even to really register the difference. So I really don't care. Somebody was asking me before, though, whether I preferred Gladiator or Braveheart. I'll give a different answer on different days. One day I might say Gladiator, the other day I'll say Braveheart. Today I'll say Braveheart, but I could change my mind on that. Miggy B writes, I love the show. Thank you so much, Miggy. Would you and Robert be willing to do your final predictions for Endgame a couple of days before it debuts? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I'd love to see how close you guys get and who wins because, well, life is a competition. Well, I mean, look, the fact of the matter is we're all going to have 80% to 90% of our predictions wrong, right? I was about 50-50 on Infinity War, but I think going into Endgame, I think most of us are going to have most of our predictions wrong. So we'll just have to see which one of us has the least amount of predictions wrong, because most of our predictions are going to be completely wrong. But yeah, I think we probably, going into the final days before Endgame, maybe just before the premiere or something, we'll do one of those videos. And believe me, we got a lot of videos on Endgame. We got to talk about the odds of who's gonna die in Endgame. We got to do new prediction theory videos, and I think right before the movie comes out, we'll do that last little final predictions going in, and we'll give our predictions. We'll see how that goes. All right, thanks for that, Miggy. All right, Parwiz Gem Shitty writes, "Hey John, why is there no panel for Sony and Lionsgate?" I don't know. Lionsgate has done presentations before. Sony has definitely done presentations before. I honestly don't know. And by the way, thank you for sending in that. That's a really big super chat. Thank you so much for that, man. Thank you for I was actually kind of surprised. I was surprised when I looked up the schedule and saw that they weren't here. So unless there's two panels tomorrow, but I think Paramount's the only panel tomorrow. But yeah, for whatever reason, Lionsgate, who have done presentations, and Sony, who has done presentations, they just opted not to be here this year. So I don't know why. But I will ask around. I'll see because you're right. They are very conspicuous by their absence. They're very conspicuous by their absence. All right, Spirit Man Studios writes, do you think they will greenlight Blomkamp Alien 5? No. Nah, I don't think so. They are going to do more Aliens. Do I think it'll be Blomkamp? No. And honestly, look, I think all the shine has faded off of Neil Blomkamp. He did a great job with District 9. But personally, and I can only speak for myself, you may feel differently. I thought Elysium was a big disappointment, and I thought Chappie was a bag of crap, to be honest with you. And I think he's a good Canadian kid, too. But so I don't know that there's a lot of juice behind Neil Blomkamp right now. Maybe, maybe not, but I don't think so. I could be wrong. Maybe they will. Maybe that's the plan. My guess is no, but who knows? Darklock63 writes, you confused Bill. Yep, understand that. Several people already mentioned that. We did. Hey, look, when you're sitting here talking about 50 different topics and 50 different questions from 50 different people, every once in a while my wires get crossed. It's happened before. It will happen again. I guarantee it. But yes, thank you for that, Darklock. Appreciate it. Miss Amore01 writes, Avengers destroyed Thanos' prize plant from his farm during his first battle, and this is why he becomes angry and attacks their base as an act of revenge. I think you might be onto something there, Miss Amore. I think you might be onto something. Something pisses him off, that's for sure. We're just going to figure out what it is. Wicked Pixelated writes, could you send a quick text to Robert Burnett about my Akira comics, please, please, please? Well, I don't have my phone. If I remember, I'll try to bring it up. Somebody named Wicked Pixelated is asking about Akira comics. Okay, I have no idea what we're talking about, but I'll mention it. Ablai writes, how much tissue would we take in case we lose Cap or Tony or both? Listen, Ablai, I don't think there's going to be one moment in the movie where we need tissue. I think there's going to be lots of cry time in Endgame. Now, I don't think Cap or Tony die. They might. There's a stronger possibility of that in this movie than in any others. But even if they don't, I think there's a lot of cry time in this movie. Particularly Hawkeye losing his kids. I think that is going to be cry time to the moon. I think this movie is going to require a lot of tissue. I think this movie is going to require a lot of tissue. All right, last two questions. Ben Rayner, if we get Quicksilver back, could it be Evan Peters? No, because that whole universe is ending. That X-Men thing is ending. They've confirmed that that's the final thing for that X-Men. That X-Men is gone away now, and they already have a Quicksilver, and it's not Evan Peters. So, no, I would say the chances of that are pretty much zero, Ben. The Jenkson writes, Legion in the MCU, thoughts? Not the television Legion, that's for sure. That they won't do that. Could they bring in a Legion character at some point years down the road? Maybe. It's possible. He's an interesting character if you set it all up right, but it would, like I said, it would be years down the road. And it would all depend on how you execute him, but I think there's potential there. But it would be a long ways off because there's a lot of groundwork you got to do before you bring in a Legion, I think. But that's just my thoughts. Okay, guys, that will do it for this installment of, what do we call it? This is our Disney wrap-up panel and Q&A from you guys. Thanks so much for being here and joining me. Hey, guys, listen, don't forget, tomorrow morning again, because I got to be at the panel or at the presentation for Paramount, there's not going to be a regular John Campea show tomorrow, but there is going to be a Paramount report follow-up, just like this Disney one, just like the whatever, and that's going to be tomorrow at around, I think it's around 12:30. I'll post what time it'll be exactly, but I think it's going to be around 12 or 12:30. Probably 12:30. Yeah, I'm going to go on a limb and say 12:30 tomorrow afternoon. 12:30 Pacific Standard Time tomorrow afternoon is when we will do our Paramount presentation wrap-up and report and breakdown. Make sure you come back and join us for that. All right, guys, that will do it for me for today. Thanks for being here. Guys, so many good movies coming from all these studios. It is an embarrassment of riches, as Rob would say. Again, thanks for being here, guys. I'll talk to you all tomorrow. My name's John Campea, and until next time, bye-bye.